From One Hub Stadium, powered by Optus, the Curran Cove Brisbane Bandits begin their final regular season home series of the year tonight as they take on the Canberra Cavalry in last year's championship rematch and a potential playoff preview again this year. With Paul Gonzalez, I'm Eric Bramer. Thanks for joining us for what should be an exciting series between two teams who on paper have statistically the exact same record. 19-13 for the Bandits, 19-13 for the Cavalry, as they fight for playoff position in a very, very crowded top of the Australian Baseball League standings. The Bandits took 3 of 4 in Canberra, and they can go a long way towards not just locking up a playoff berth, but locking up some home field advantage with a good performance here in round 9.
Well, I think you just hit it right on the head. It's opportunity for Bandits to really take their playoff destination in their own hands. I think they're going to have a competitive side. I think they're going to get challenged today by Kent. He's a fantastic left-handed arm out of Canberra, always battles on the bump, pitches well against the Bandits, but really I think it's a good position for the Bandits to start building that playoff atmosphere. And if they really want to host at home, whether it be a semifinal or finals, this is the weekend to do it.
The Bandits play really well at home in general, but they especially play well at home historically against these Cavalry. This is going to be a tough series for Canberra as they try and exercise some demons.
No, I agree. And like I said, it is a good test. And to be honest, you can't simulate mental pressures. And I think this is as close to playoff pressures you're going to get. You know, you got tied records, you got tough division, you got Sydney by 1 game leading division. But I think the way the Bandits' schedule plays out, it's favorable on their side. This is going to be an exciting weekend of baseball.
You mentioned the Cavalry are sending to the mound their best starter, Stephen Kent. 29-year-old lefty is 6-0 in 8 starts with a sub-3 ERA. One of his worst starts, if you can call it that, came against these Bandits back in round 4. He allowed 4 runs in 5 2/3 innings. For the Bandits, it'll be another lefty, Ryan Bollinger, who began the season in the bullpen, now is a starter. The issue has been length as they try and stretch him out. Last time out, 4 2/3, 8 strikeouts. He's been very effective, but the hope is that he will give the Bandits not just innings, but effective innings.
Well, I think he will. I think the way David has really used him this year, softened the bullpen early on and slowly ramped him up. I think his pitch count's getting to the point where David will want to at least see 5 out of a minimum, and if he can stretch him to 6, that'll be fantastic.
You see the numbers there for Bollinger. He made 3 relief appearances against the Cavalry in Canberra, 2 scoreless, 2 hits, no runs, and 1 strikeout. The lineup that he will face for Keith Ward's Cavalry begins with Michael Francoso at shortstop. It's followed by Cam Warner at third base, Craig Massey at second base, Zach Wilson at first base, David Candelas in right field, Michael Krause in center field, Kyle Perkins catching, Madison Youngener, the DH, and Kuki Aoyagi in left field. Around the Bandits, pitcher Ryan Bollinger defensively is this arrangement. Danny De La Calle is the catcher, Ryan Battaglia at first, Riley Unruh at second, TJ Bennett at third, Logan Wade at short, and a bit of a different look for the Bandits in the outfield. Winton Bernard in left, Andrew Campbell in center, and Mitch Ellis out in right for the injured Wade Dutton, who suffered a shoulder injury last weekend.
Look, I tell you what, I think the big threat for me from Canberra is Michael Krause come back into the organization, hitting .533, so he's had an automatic impact. He covers a lot of ground in center field, and he runs extremely well. But overall, as a team, when you look at batting averages, Canberra's hitting as a team .265 against the Bandits, who actually had a very good series last weekend and bumped their batting average from .242 to .256. So really outstanding to see them bump up 10 numbers, and I'm starting to see some big bats starting to come to life. Unruh swinging the bat well. TJ Bennett has been consistent, and obviously with the addition of Logan Wade and Winton Bernard, it's a different lineup makeup.
Both of these teams have seen increased offensive performance from their lineups in the last few weeks. Canberra, winners of 10 of their last 13, have seen their team batting average going from .223 to .265. Here's Michael Francoso. Francoso's numbers impressive. First pitch, swung on and hit foul right in front of the Bandits' dugout down the first base line. First pitch at 6:04 local time. First pitch temperature of 29 degrees Celsius, a wind at 21 kilometers per hour from the northeast, blows out as usual to right field. Bandits wearing their home whites, Canberra wearing their road grays. Lefty Bollinger delivers inside 1-1.
You mentioned outstanding numbers by Francoso, an outfielder over 28 years of age, the 27th round by the Pittsburgh Pirates in 13. He's hitting .541 in his last 10 games. So
hit hard on the ground to first. Battaglia stumbles, but has enough time to recover and take it to the base. Francoso retired to begin the ball game and to begin round 9.
And that's really the start you want to see from Bollinger. We talked about pitch count. If he can keep his efficiencies down, minimize his workload on the bump, David can stretch him out. And I think David would love to see him go 5+. And I think that really lines him up for a good start in Geelong, and obviously then aligning his rotation up for a playoff position.
Bollinger is not ashamed to admit that he tries to strike out everyone he faces. Last time out against the Tuatara here in Brisbane, he struck out 8 in 4 2/3, allowing just 2 hits and 1 run. Ball 1 misses to Cam Warner, the third baseman for the Cavalry. Hit hard to center field. Campbell freezes, now a few steps back, has room, and he makes the catch for the second out.
And look, as he progresses in his career, and he's now obviously more mature, just recently picked up by the San Diego Padres organization, depending on his role with San Diego, he may come out obviously as a long to a left-handed specialist, and obviously at the big league level. But the reality is he can give you different looks. He can start, he can go long relief, and he can actually set up as well. So he's extremely versatile, but the big thing is he's got great arm strength and he's got command of 2 pitches.
Here's Craig Massey, batting above 300. He bluffs a bunt and takes a ball, 1-0. Massey and Francoso in the top third of the lineup for the Cavalry are the only 2 lefties batting for Canberra. The Bandits, a lefty-heavy team, are about as right-handed as David Nielsen can make them. They've got Donald Lutz, David Sutherland, and Dan Nielsen all on the bench to begin this game. Hitters count, the 2-0. On the corner, a called strike. Paul Ladd, the crew chief, calls balls and strikes behind home plate. He is flanked at first base by James Shields and at third base by Tom West. Bollinger's 2-1. Fouled straight back. Sun setting down the first base line. Partly cloudy today. Haven't had any precipitation in the last few days. Grounds crew has done a great job of keeping this field moisturized and in great playing shape.
I tell you what, they do a brilliant job, and the field's in immaculate condition. And
served up the middle and past the second baseman Unruh into center field. Not well hit by Massey, but that's how you bat 300 over the course of a season. You put the bat on the ball and you see what happens.
Well, I tell you what, and that's exactly right. And that's good for Bollinger. You're seeing that he's, you talked about he is a high strikeout guy, but as a starter, if you can see him pitching into soft contact, which he did, hopefully he can bring his pitch count down and go deeper in the ball game.
Bollinger moves to the stretch. Lefty has a good pickoff move as Zach Wilson steps into the right-handed batter's box. Wilson, the first baseman, takes a called strike. Bandits coming off of a doubleheader sweep on Saturday, here at home against the Auckland Tuatara. 1-1 the count. Their lone loss in that 5-game series was an extra inning loss, 3-2 in 10 innings. Great game between Josh Colmenter and Travis Blackley, 2 former Major League pitchers in that one. Bollinger readies the 1-1. Wilson nubs it in between home plate and the mound. The catcher De La Calle throws to first, and Battaglia can't handle the throw. It goes into shallow right field. The inning will continue, and Massey will take third. Runners at the corners after an early defensive mistake from the Bandits.
Yeah, big mistake right there on a good throw by De La Calle. Unfortunately, Battaglia couldn't put enough glove on it, and the ball gets by him and now puts the first and third and 2 out. So we talk about efficiencies and being able to go deeper in the ball game. These are the things you don't want to see from your defense, particularly when he potentially could have had a good inning.
The throw could have been more on the base. but as a catcher, you are not taught to throw into the baseline. That was a throw that Battaglia probably should have had.
Yeah, look, and like I said, Battaglia hasn't played a lot of first base this year, so, like I said, but it's a ball that he's capable of catching. But the main thing is now they've got to regroup, and Bollinger's got to regroup mentally here and stay out of a big inning.
David Candelas, the right fielder, takes a strike. Massey at third, Wilson at first. Canberra trying to strike early before the Bandits can take their turn at bat. Called strike with the breaker, and it's 0-2. Bollinger gives you a fastball, slider, curve, and a change. Fastball velocity in the mid-90s is atypical for a left-handed pitcher, and it's one of the reasons why he is a rising star in the Padres system. Here's the 0-2. Bounced in the dirt, and De La Calle gets in front of it.
Good pitch right there by Bollinger, and that's sometimes you'll see a guy potentially make a mistake 0-2. So he's in the driver's seat against a very tough right-hand hitter for Canberra. Candelas is known for being a big threat offensively, a Team Australian representative, so got to really make sure he bears down 1-2 in this count.
The 1-2 pitch. Popped up behind first. Long run for Battaglia. Now the second baseman Unruh takes charge, and it falls fair ball. Back-to-back errors for the Bandits. This one may go for a bloop single. Candelas comes through, and the Cavalry take a 1-0 lead. That's the second baseman's ball if he can get there, and it appeared that Unruh got there. He just overran the target of it.
Yeah, it looks like, and I don't know if it's because of the sun, and it is. There's a big sun in right field coming as it sets. So I'm assuming that there might be just some shadows, and now that forces another tough at-bat, another tough hitter, and potentially should have got out of the inning unscathed, and now he's sitting and threatening again with first and third and 2 outs.
The Wilson at bat is being ruled as a throwing error on De La Calle. Here's Michael Kraus, the center fielder. Paul, you mentioned how dangerous he can be. No sign of a swing there as he takes a breaking pitch for ball 1.
I've seen Kraus for a number of years. He's returning, obviously, from last year. He is a threat, not just with the bat, but he can run. He runs extremely well, so it's going to really be tough on any close play at first base.
There's a called strike, 1-1. Kraus batting .533 in limited playing time. The pitch misses down and in. There's a called strike, and it's 2-2. That'll be an unearned run on Bollinger's ledger. Same can be said of any future runs that score, but that will be little consolation to Ryan if he can't get out of this inning. 2-2. High fly ball, right field. Should be routine for Ellis. He makes the catch for the third out. Bandits' miscues in the field allow the Cavalry to strike first. They lead 1-0 with Brisbane coming to bat after this.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire?
Stephen Kent takes his warm-up tosses for the Cavalry. He's been staked to a 1-0 lead, and for someone who on the year has not lost a ball game, he has to welcome that early advantage. For the Bandits, managed by David Nielsen, their lineup begins with Riley Unroe at second base, Winton Bernard in left field, Andrew Campbell in center field, TJ Bennett at third base, Logan Wade at short, Ryan Battaglia at first, Mitch Nielsen the DH, Danny De La Calle catching, and Mitch Ellis in right field. Defensively for the Cavalry, it will be Kyle Perkins catching, Wilson at first, Massey at second, Warner at third, Francoso at short, and left to right across the outfield, Aoyagi, Kraus, and Candelas. Here's Riley Unroe, batting average up to .216. Unroe had a really nice round 8 against the Tuatara, getting some league-wide recognition for his exploits at the plate. Unroe is switch hitter, batting righty, takes up high ball 1. Kent is primarily fastball, curveball, slider. Fastball has a great spin rate, to use the parlance of the time. You can get swings and misses up in the zone, and that could be an advantage for the Bandits. Pitches up tend to go out of the ballpark if you can make contact here at One Hub Stadium, powered by Optus.
Well, I tell you what, the velo looks outstanding. I've watched Kent for a number of years, and he was with the Atlanta Braves recently and pitched his highest AAA. He's always looked good mechanically. He's in good shape this year. When you look at his numbers, they're outstanding. 51.1 innings, 34 hits, 16 runs, 15 earned. He's only conceded the 1 home run, but the batting average against is 189. So when you look at those numbers, they're really Cy Young Award in the ABL.
And 63 strikeouts in those 51 1/3 innings.
With 13 base on balls, so there's a pretty good stat line there, and he's had a brilliant year at 6-0.
He has a 2-strike count here to Riley Unroe, who already has a grass stain on the back of his jersey from the tumble he took down the first base line in the top half. 1-2, hit hard on the ground to third, right at Warner. Warner fields and throws to retire the Bandits' leadoff man, 1 up, 1 down.
Ball hit hard right there, and once again, Unroe has another good at-bat, and good job coming up with the throw for out number 1. And that's what we talk about, is when you've got good starters like this, if they can stay out of trouble and keep their efficiencies, they do get progressively better throughout the game. So Bandit's got to find a way to find his chink in his armor, because he hasn't shown many chinks this year.
Here's the left fielder, Winton Bernard. Bernard joined the team right under the wire, getting in here for round 8 as he swings and lifts a high fly ball into right field. Candelas is there, and he makes the catch. Bernard, 1 pitch, 1 out, 2 down.
And that's what you want to see, particularly from your starter as a head coach, to see a quick 1-2. If he can find a way to get a 1-2-3, you got to be pleased with that when you put an early run on the board against a tough left-hander with Bollinger on the mound.
Now Andrew Campbell. Campbell batting .288 with 6 homers. Began the year as the leadoff man. Now has found himself batting in the 3 spot. More often than not, he takes a called strike. Lefty-lefty matchup here. Bandits have Campbell and Bennett behind him as the lone lefties in the lineup. 4 switch hitters, Unroe, Wade, Nielsen, and Ellis. Breaking pitch misses up, 1-1. Kent from the wind. 2-1. Bandits end the regular season next weekend in Geelong against Geelong Korea. In terms of wins and losses, that could not be a better matchup for the Bandits. Geelong Korea in their first year in the ABL in last place by a bunch. 2-2 the count. But you can't take anything for granted. Bandits need to take care of business here. And, they need to win that series in Geelong. They hope to sweep it, but you never know.
That's baseball, and all it takes is one good outing, or it takes one big hit with the right timing. So Bandits have to stay focused. But look, it is playoff end. It's the business end of the season, so their focus has to be putting themselves in a positive playoff position that's favorable for them. So that's really they should be looking at right now, is putting themselves in the best position they can for that playoff push.
The two division champions will get home field advantage in the semifinal round. Sydney right now has the best record in the league at 20-12. Brisbane, Canberra, and Perth in the Southwest all have records of 19-13. Kent readies another 2-2. Served into left field. That's down for a base hit. Aoyagi up after it, and a big turnaround first for Campbell. He'll be content with a 2-out single.
Really good at bat by Campbell right there, and that's what you want to see. I mean, although there's 2 outs, what he's doing is extending his pitch count and putting a little bit of pressure on him. But the other positive thing is to see a lefty have a positive at bat against Kent. That's a good at bat for Campbell early in the ball game.
Here's TJ Bennett, who had a monster series in round 8 against Auckland. Look at the numbers there. 10 homers, league-leading 34 runs batted in. He's making himself into a legitimate MVP candidate, and he's been there all year for the Bandits, but the numbers have really, really improved and increased in the last couple of weeks.
And at the right time. You know, you have a lot of guys that have a quick start. I like to see guys when they finish strong in the back end, and that's really when you need them, particularly when you're in contention for a top spot in the division.
Called strike begins the at-bat to the Bandits' third baseman.
Just on those numbers, 34 at-bats in his last 10 games, 10 hits, 10 RBIs, and 3 home runs. So very, very productive in this 4 slot.
And those 3 home runs all came in the same day. Check swing, misses up high, 1-1. That was the doubleheader on Saturday. 1 homer in the first game and a double dip in the nightcap. Kent in the stretch, takes a look at Campbell. There's a high fastball that challenges Bennett, and he comes up empty, 1-2. That's going to be the challenge for Brisbane tonight, making contact with that high cheese or laying off of it if it's above the letters. If they can make contact, well, in this ballpark, as we said, those high pitches can go a long way in a hitter-friendly environment. Kent's 1-2. Chopped off the plate and foul. To complete the look at the standings, you've got Sydney at 20-12, Brisbane, Canberra, and Perth all at 19-13. Melbourne 2 games out right now in 5th place at 18-14. And Adelaide, despite a strong season at 17-15, is on the outside looking in. Bandits have that advantage of playing a last-place team to end the season. Sydney plays host to last-place Auckland tonight and throughout round 9. Close pitch taken by Bennett, and the count is 2-2.
And Sydney doesn't get any easier for Adelaide. They finish up the last regular season series against Sydney. So in Adelaide, that's an advantage. But they've got a chance to see if they can chip away. But it'll be a tough head-to-head against the Blue Sox.
Perth is hosting Geelong, Korea tonight. We'll keep you updated on those other 2 games around the league. Here's a deep drive to right field. It is back and off the wall. Rounding second, on his way to third is Campbell. He will be held up. And that is the loudest, longest single of the year for TJ Bennett. Right into the sunlight, but it banged off the wall, and TJ Bennett continues to swing a hot bat.
Absolutely. That was only about 100 millimeters away from going out of the ballpark, but he absolutely jumped all over it and now puts the Bandits in a position to try to tie this up in the first with a man on first and third in 2 outs.
Bandits came about their runners on the corners a little bit more legitimately than the Cavalry did, but Canberra turned a couple Bandits mistakes into the game's first run. Here's switch hitter Logan Wade, the shortstop for the Bandits, looking to come through and tie this ball game up. Wade batting .324. He swings the first pitch and lifts it foul down the first base line out of play. Wade missed the first half of the season due to a shoulder injury. He's come back and contributed right away, as if he has not missed a step. Kent's 0-1. Hard ground ball past the first baseman Wilson into right field. Campbell scores, and the throw to third goes wide. Rounding third and coming home out of the slide is Bennett, and the Bandits take a 2-1 lead. A single for Wade, and an errant throw from Candelas in right has flipped the scoreboard. The Bandits now lead it by a run.
Outstanding job by Logan Wade right there. Didn't try to do too much. Utilized the hold, the runner being held on first base and able to shoot the ball between first and second and drive that ball into right field. The aggressive running by TJ allowed him to advance to third, and on the errant throw was able to score, now making it 2-1 here in the bottom of the first.
1 RBI for Wade. Bennett scores on the E9, and Logan Wade takes second in the process. Here's Ryan Battaglia. Battaglia takes a called strike. Round 4 in Canberra was cleanly played between these two teams, but there is no love lost on these two sides. Big swing and a miss, and the count is 0-2.
That's the thing. There is a lot of history here, and obviously off last year's championship series, where Brisbane was able to get ahead. So there's a lot of, you would probably say, still a lot of big rivalry between these two sides. And early off in the first inning, we've already seen it with the first run in the first, and now 2 runs by the Bandits.
Battaglia just gets a piece of the high fastball, sending it back. Everything here in the first has happened with 2 outs on both sides of the scorecard. Cavalry had their first 2 men set down, and the Bandits couldn't solve Kent until Campbell's 2-out single. Another 0-2 coming to Ryan Battaglia, missing up high. Battaglia gets the start at first base today in place of David Sutherland. Sutherland, a left-handed hitter, begins on the bench against the tough lefty Stephen Kent. 1-2 breaking pitch for a called strike 3. A punch-out ends the first frame for Stephen Kent, but the Bandits string together 3 2-out hits and an error from the outfield of the Cavalry to take a 2-1 lead.
Careful, out there, champ.
How good is this?
Welcome back to One Hub Stadium, powered by Optus in Brisbane. The Bandits lead the Canberra Cavalry by a score of 2-1 as we go to the top of the second inning. With Australian silver medalist Paul Gonzalez, I'm Eric Bramer. Thanks for joining us tonight for a championship rematch of last year's ABL Claxton Shield Finals. Potentially another playoff preview here this year between two teams who find themselves tied for second place in the new divisional format of the ABL. Cavalry batted 6 and scored 1 in their half of the first inning. They will send 7, 8, and 9 up against Ryan Bollinger, Kyle Perkins, Madison Youngener, and Kuki Aoyagi. Kyle Perkins takes on the inside corner a called strike.
I'll tell you one of the most important things, particularly about this series. Bandits obviously play well at home, and it's imperative that they play well this series to establish where they want to position themselves in that playoff run. In the tie part of the season, where both teams are 19 and 13, Canberra actually have to go to Perth after this series, where Brisbane go to Geelong. So it'll get a lot tougher for Canberra at the back end of this season.
Sent into right field, it bangs off the wall on a couple hops. Perkins rounds first and goes into second. He beats the throw, and he has a leadoff double in the second inning.
Once again, it shows how tight this rivalry is between these two sides. Bandits put up a quick 2 spot in the first, and straight off the bat, Perkins shoots one to right for a leadoff double.
Looked like from up here that it was in on the hands a little bit, but Perkins definitely muscled it out. And he finds himself in scoring position as the tying run with Madison Youngener, the DH, stepping to the plate. De La Caille out to have a chat with Bollinger. That's the first mound visit, and an early mound visit for the Bandits backstop.
I think it's a good time right there, and two reasons. One, he making sure they're on the same page with signs with the man on second base, but also let him know where he's at in the batting order to get him to focus back in the zone.
Youngener, looking for his first hit, takes down and in. One-0, sent back to the screen.
Just looking at Youngener's numbers this year, they've got him listed as a pitcher.
Yeah, 2 scoreless innings so far.
So he obviously deals as a pitcher. He was a 7th round pick with Boston in 2009. He's 28 years of age from Augusta, Georgia.
Spent this past year in a couple different organizations. On the inside corner, the count is 1-2. Pitched in the Giants system, then sent over to the Dodgers, where he pitched briefly for Tulsa and Oklahoma City, AA and AAA respectively. One-two, sent in the air behind first, long run for Battaglia, and this time the little doink falls just foul. That would have been quite a way for Youngener to collect his first hit.
I like the approach, and obviously you can tell he's played a little bit in the National League, so he's obviously swung the bat. He was probably a dual type guy as a young athlete, both hitting and pitching. But just good efforts right there, trying to find a way to shoot the ball the right side of the diamond and advance the runner.
Just 1 for 10 this past year in the minors, but in his minors career, batting .273, 6 hits in 22 at-bats. Hits it hard on the ground towards short. Wade throws to first to retire the former major leaguer. That's out number 1. Youngener got in 8 games in 2016 for the Atlanta Braves. An unproductive out as Perkins remains at second. Here's Kuki Aoyagi. Aoyagi batting .173, no homers, 4 runs batted in. The left fielder loads and swings and misses, 0-1. No strikeouts so far for Bollinger. This is coming off of an 8 strikeout performance against the Tuatara his last time out. The 0-1. Foul tip into the mitt, and the count is 0-2. Bollinger looks in. The 0-2. There's a strikeout. Called strike 3, and Aoyagi goes down for the first Skyfleet Hino strikeout of the night.
On the replay, you get a chance to see good pitch, good location. Got ahead in the count early and able to paint him on the inner half, and really couldn't do anything with that pitch. So big out for the Bandits with the man on second base.
Fastball perhaps a little bit low, but too close to take. Perkins still at second after the leadoff double. Here's Michael Francoso, the leadoff man, who grounded to first. He takes just off the corner, ball 1. The 1-0. Just missing the corner again, 2-0. Dangerous count to a dangerous hitter. Francoso awaits the next from Bollinger. On a 2-0 fastball count, he gets the breaking pitch, and it's a called strike, 2-1.
When you talk about dangerous hitters, in the series against Sydney, he went 3 for 4, 4 for 5, 2 for 4, 2 for 4. Not a bad weekend.
Swing and a miss. The count is 2-2. Perkins at second has good speed for a catcher, but that's faint praise. We'll see if he's waved around to score with 2 down. Outfield is playing back, and that will help his chances on a base hit. The 2-2. Right back up the middle into center field. Perkins gets the wave. He comes home. Here's the throw from Campbell. It's cut off. And the Cavalry have tied it right back up here in the second on the 2-out RBI single from Michael Francoso. It's 2 apiece.
And once again, he picks up right where he left off in that Sydney series, picking another hit and a big RBI for the Canberra Cavalry.
First earned run allowed by Bollinger after the unearned run in the first. Here's Cam Warner, who flew out to center field his first time up. Bollinger steps off. We don't want to read too much into this, and we don't want you, the viewer, to read too much into this. But the Bandits' first 3 starters in round 9 are Bollinger, Blackley, and Atherton. And in a 3-game playoff series, that's a pretty good starting rotation.
Yeah, it's a really good starting rotation. And it'll be interesting to see how David tries to line himself up. Obviously, the priority is this series. This is a big matchup against a very tough organization who has a lot of momentum on their side. But it's a really good chance for him to kind of strategically, with the last series being Geelong, kind of work his rotation the way he wants to for that first round in the playoffs.
Bandits, of course, do not want to play in the wild card game. It's a 1-game winner-take-all between the 4 and 5 seeds in the league. But they have to prepare as if they may have to. Called strike, and the count is 1-2. And that takes place the Wednesday before the playoffs start in earnest. So the final game of the regular season would be Sunday. Got the wild card game on Wednesday, and then the semifinal rounds begin on Friday. The 1-2. Hit hard on a hop to the shortstop Wade. He bobbles but recovers and throws just in time to get the force at second of Francoso. The Cavalry tie it up here in the second inning. The leadoff double from Kyle Perkins is followed eventually by the 2-out single from Michael Francoso. 2 apiece going to the bottom of the second here on Bandits.tv.
At the Sporting Globe, we're a little different to other pubs and bars. We have more than just cooks, we have chefs. We have more than bar service, we have table service. We have more than live sporting events, we have atmosphere. And we have more than customers, we have fans. It's more than a sports bar, it's a Sporting Globe.
No one knows what the future of transportation will look like. Robots. But no matter what, Enterprise can help. You can rent a car for a road trip. Look, kids, nature. Oh, wow. You can rent a truck for a move. You can buy a car, commute in a van pool, or get picked up because your car is in a pool. My bad. Count on Enterprise, no matter where transportation goes next.
Let's go.
I love the future. How can Enterprise pick you up today?
Hey, Thomas.
Yeah?
Is it fun playing at festivals?
It's pretty good, mate. You get to see amazing places, meet new people. Everyone's just pumped to be there. And you get to do the sign-off.
Thank you, Queensland! You're amazing!
Queensland, where life's beautiful one day and perfect the next.
Gorgeous night for baseball here in Brisbane, and it's tied up at 2 between the Bandits and the Cavalry going to the bottom of the second inning. Stephen Kent got the first 2 outs of the first inning quite easily, but then allowed 3 straight hits to Andrew Campbell, TJ Bennett, and Logan Wade. That brought in 2 runs, and the Bandits took a brief 2-1 lead. Cavalry just tied it up with a 2-out RBI single from Michael Francoso in the top half of the second inning. Here's Mitch Nielsen looking for his first hit of his injury-delayed season. He leads off for the Bandits against Stephen Kent. First pitch misses, up and away, ball one. Nielsen, De La Calle, and Ellis, bottom third of the lineup, due up for Brisbane. Hit to short. 2 hops to Francoso, moving towards his right. On-target throw to first, and Mitch Nielsen, the DH, is retired for the first out of the second inning. That'll bring in Danny De La Calle, Bandits catcher, who was charged with a throwing error in the first inning that led to an unearned run. Up here, we didn't think it was that bad of a throw. And he has a chance to make up for a rocky start defensively with a good night at the plate. He has been a pleasant surprise at the plate. Has kind of a reputation stateside of being a defensive specialist catcher, but on the year here in the ABL, batting .267, he's made a few of those hits count.
Yeah, I think he's had a really good year. The main thing I've seen him do is utilize the right side of the diamond early on, and when he stays within himself, he actually does a lot of damage with the bat. It's like anything. He's a big unit, so sometimes you get too big and you start coming off the baseball, but when he stays through the baseball, he's done some damage.
1-1 the count after a foul back. The 1-1. Breaking pitch misses, 2-1. The 2-1. Swing and a foul, 2-2.
And that's a pitch right there where you get bigger than you need to. Although it's a good pitch to drive, he's physically strong enough. If he can just barrel him up, he can drive the ball in the gaps and drive the ball to the yard, so he doesn't have to force it if he doesn't have to.
Kent rocks and fires, the 2-2. Hit softly, shallow right, and it will fall in front of Candelas. Looked like he may have had a chance to make a dive, but he plays it safe there, and De La Calle is aboard with a 1-out single.
Yeah, right there. And that's just a good job of hitting by De La Calle. And we talk about two strike approach. He didn't get too big, just shot a little 9-iron to right field and able to back that up in front of Candelas for a single. But that's still a good at-bat early in the ballgame.
Here's Mitch Ellis. Ellis was persona non grata as he drops down a drag bunt foul. Well, that suggests he fell out of favor last round. That's not the case, but he was not an active part of the Bandits' game plan against the Tuatara. However, with the injury to Wade Dutton, Ellis, who has played well in the opportunities that he has gotten, will figure to see a lot more playing time in right field and elsewhere.
Yeah, he's shown a lot of versatility this year for the Bandits, and I think long-term will be a great player for the organization because he can play multiple positions.
Called strike, and it's 0-2. In fact, he's played out of position most of the year. He's just been wherever David Nielsen has wanted him. Batting average at .324. He has definitely made the most of his opportunity. Bounced in the dirt. Kicks away from Perkins, but it kicks away in front of him, and that keeps the runner at first.
Very good job right there by Perkins. If that ball does get by him, it forces De La Calle to second base and puts him in scoring position. So an outstanding job by Perkins to keep that ball in front.
Ellis swings and misses. Foul tip into the mitt. Second strikeout for Kent, and it's out number 2 here in the second inning.
Good pitch, good location by Kent right there. Just ran the ball in on his hands and get a chance to see the replay. And a lot of action on the fastball late and just not able to catch up with it for out number 2.
Lineup turns over for Riley Unroe. Unroe grounded to third his last time up. He chases a high fastball. The count is 0-1. 2 runs on 4 hits for both teams. They've each committed an error as well. The 0-1. Breaking pitch misses low. Because the fastball is so often up, you wonder if it's easier for guys like Unruh to lay off the breaking pitch when it comes in on a different plane. Here's a deep drive to right center field. No chance. Look at this one fly. A 2-run home run for Riley Unruh, and the Bandits lead it 4-2. Riley Unruh has turned the power on here at home. Another home run from the switch-hitting infielder, and the Bandits retake the lead.
Tell you what, this is impressive. You got a pitch up in the zone. You see it split the middle of the plate, and Unruh knew as soon as he squared it up, and that ball was deep into right center field. That was a no-doubter, and all of a sudden now the Bandits put 4 spot on the board here in the second.
Just the second home run that Kent has allowed all season. Here's Winton Bernard. Bernard takes a belt-high strike. Bernard lifts it foul. The count is 0-2. That's the 4th homer of the year for Unruh. 3rd in his last 5 ball games. Right back up the middle, a base hit for Bernard. Didn't hit it well, but he put bat to ball, and he gets rewarded for that. A soft liner into center, and the Bandits keep the second inning going.
So you asked the question earlier in the piece by having an elevated fastball when he throws the elevated breaking ball. So the issue with the elevated breaking ball is it's a slow tumbler. So you see it early out of the hand, and it breaks early. So for a hitter, it's not the late adjustment you see from the late action breaking ball. So I think guys, they pick up the rotation early in the piece, and it's elevated. They know they can barrel him up. Obviously, anything down in the zone with an early break will break early. So the hitters are making early adjustments here in the second.
Andrew Campbell takes down. Campbell got the first inning rally started with a 2-out single. He came home to score on Logan Wade's RBI single. Winton Bernard a threat to steal at first. High fastball, and a swing and a miss runs the count to 1-1. Bernard checked, he dives in safely. Two and 1 the count. Bandits going with a righty-heavy lineup here against the lefty Stephen Kent. But if you look at his splits last year, Kent actually did better against righties than he did lefties.
He did, and that's one of the things on him on the book is that lefties has always hit higher off him, so whatever that may be. Sometimes the mechanics are left-handed hitters have to stay through the baseball, so they really look to drive the ball left center. So if they pick up the breaking ball early, and if he's not running the ball in on their hands enough, they're able to barrel him up.
Splits can cancel each other out if you've got a left-handed hitter who just can't hit lefty pitching,
Correct.
Period. But an interesting little wrinkle in the typical conventional wisdom. This one hit well but foul down the left field line.
And you see right there again, Soupy first at bat shot the ball in the left field, and that's where his hands are staying inside the ball and he's staying through it, so it doesn't force him to come off the ball. Because Kent's primarily a fastball breaking ball guy, doesn't really look at a slider or cutter like Blackley would. It's easier to stay through the baseball on him than a guy that throws a lot of sliders.
2-2. Check swing in the dirt, and Campbell went around. He's tagged out for a strikeout and out number 3 in the second inning. But the Bandits get another big 2-out hit, this time a long 2-out hit. A 2-run shot from Riley Unruh to give them a 4-2 lead over Canberra as we go to the third.
It's always been us.
The Outlaws are having a good time, and so too are the Bandits, who lead the Cavalry 4-2 as we go to the top of the third inning. Paul Gonzalez and Eric Kramer with you. A gorgeous night as usual here in Brisbane. Canberra starter Stephen Kent had not allowed a home run since opening day, but Riley Unroe took him deep in the bottom of the second inning. Here at One Hope Stadium, powered by Optus, we have gotten used to seeing players and pitchers give up more long balls than they are accustomed to.
I think, from you watching all the games this year, the only one we probably had the toughest head-to-head was Cole Mentor and Blackley, and that was outstanding ball game by both those starters, but once again, two big league pitchers. But this ballpark can play on you mentally. If you make mistakes up in the zone, you can be punished, and so sometimes they put a little bit more mental pressure on arms when they're on the bump.
Heart of the order due up for the Cavalry, beginning with Craig Massey. He takes a pair of balls after a first inning single. Massey's single was a soft liner up the middle, and he takes up high 3-0.
And this is where Bollinger, as a starter and obviously as the number one, has got to see the opportunity when you get a 4 spot after a couple big innings and try to put up a 0 right here. Then that way allows your offense to get back in the dugout and see if they can keep that momentum in their court.
4-pitch walk to Craig Massey begins the third inning, and that'll bring up Zach Wilson. Bollinger needed 42 pitches to get through the first 2 innings. Now 30 of them were for strikes. Command wasn't an issue, and he did not get much help defensively behind him. But he needs to have a quick inning or 2 here if he wants to get through 5 like the target was.
And this is where, at the higher levels, if you give up the lead-up walk, now you've got to try to find a way to induce the ground ball. If you can get 2, then all of a sudden you avoid the high pitch inning. But if he goes back into strikeout mode, then pitch counts will be a lot higher.
Zach Wilson hit a little squibber in between the mound and home plate. It was picked up by Danny De La Calle, the catcher, and the throw was a little bit wide, but good enough to the first baseman Ryan Battaglia, who had it glance off his glove. That extended the inning and eventually led to the first run of the ball game. After a strike, the pitch misses down and in.
And that's the location he wants to be at. Him and Kent want to miss down, and even though they don't get that pitch, that's where they want to be because they're not going to get in much trouble there. It's when that ball gets elevated from the thigh to the belt level, it's when the damage happens.
Kent has a naturally rising fastball, and he will go upstairs to get outs. Here's a deep drive to left field. Wilson has tied the ball game with a long 2-run home run. And it's an offensive showcase so far here in Brisbane. 4 apiece now. We're still in the third inning.
It just shows us how deep in the lineups both of these organizations are, and you've got 2 quality arms that have big league stuff, and with one swing of the bat, and you can see the pitch. And we talk about location. It's actually down in the zone, but probably middle of the plate, and Bollinger wasn't able to get his location, and now all of a sudden we've got a tie ball game 4-4 in the third.
Replay brought to you by Suki Bowl. Here's David Candelas, the right fielder. He collected a bloop single his first time up that fell into no man's land just fair in shallow right field. The 1-0 pitch. There's a called strike on the inside corner. Candelas thought it was inside. And that'll get the Canberra dugout chirping. I don't think it'll take much to set these 2 teams off in this series. Playing for supremacy in the division, playing for pride as well. And the Cavalry have had their pride hurt here in Brisbane the last couple years.
What is, and everybody knows when they step into this arena, it's always going to be a tough battle. So, and that's just going to get the guys more engaged. So, both teams will battle all the way through the 9th inning. So, like I said, already in the third inning, and we've already got 4 runs on the board by both teams.
The 2-2. Breaking pitch, and Candelas lays off. The count runs full with Michael Krause waiting on deck. Bollinger from the wind. The payoff pitch. Breaking pitch, hit on the ground towards short. Wade to his right with a strong throw across. Retires Candelas for the first out of the third inning.
Good play by Logan, goes to his right on the backhand, and good thing he does right there. He regroups and sets himself and fires through and follow his throw, and that's a big out for the Bandits here in the third.
Krause flew out to right field his first time up. That brings the batting average down to only .500. Still pretty impressive as he puts a good swing on the first offering from Bollinger, 0-1.
One thing you will see from Krause as well is if he gets on the first base, he reads left-handed pitching really well, and he actually runs the bases well. Last year there was a matchup between him and Blackley, and he seemed to have a read on Blackley that most people don't have. So see how he goes if he does get on first base and how he reads Bollinger.
Krause, 28 years old. He takes down and in. Krause, a Canadian in his third year in the ABL, second consecutive. Last year for Melbourne, and in the 13-14 season he played here for the Cavalry. 1-2, tapped weekly foul into his own dugout. Krause spent the 2018 American season in AAA baseball in the unaffiliated Mexican League, where he swings and misses at the offering from Bollinger. Skyfleet Hino strikeout number 2 for the lefty, and it's out number 2 in the third.
Yeah, good pitch by Bollinger. Get a chance to see it on the Suki ball replay. That's good, and we're talking about late action, so that ball really doesn't start to break till it's probably about 2 or 3 feet before it hits home plate. So as a hitter, it's always tough to lay off of because it's got such late action on it.
Now Kyle Perkins, who doubled into the right field corner his first time up and came home to score. He takes a called strike. Bollinger's next. Broken bat, hit on a hop to second. Unruh fields and throws. Final 3 men of the third inning are retired quite easily, but the first 2 men are not. Leadoff walk comes back to haunt Ryan Bollinger, who allows a 2-run home run to Zach Wilson to tie this ball game at 4 as we go to the bottom of the third inning.
Great job, Chef.
Thanks.
Who wants a drink?
Let's go, Archer. Beers away.
Thank you, Archer.
Looks like these guys are working up a tropical thirst, Archer.
Thank you, Archer!
Beers to the beach.
Yeah! Thank you, Archer!
They look thirsty down there in the outback, Archer.
We'll all be.
Thank you,
Archer! Yeah!
Good boy, Archer.
It has been a back-and-forth affair thus far between the Brisbane Bandits and the Canberra Cavalry. It's tied at 4 as we go to the bottom of the third here in Brisbane. Paul Gonzalez and Eric Bramer with you for the Round 9 opener of the 18-19 ABL season. Just 8 games remain, Paul. Bandits and Cavalry are both tied with a 19-13 record. And there are a lot of things that could happen in the final 2 weeks of this season. Both of these teams feel pretty good about their chances, but they are both just 2 games safe from missing the playoffs entirely.
Exactly, and we talked about, we thought we were going to get a pitching duel between 2 great arms. We've got a Ken on the bump at 6-0 and only conceded 1 home run, and all of a sudden now, wow.
TJ Bennett hits it hard to left field, but Aoyagi is back, and shy of the warning track, he makes the catch for the first out.
But it's actually been almost like a heavyweight boxing match, 2 heavyweights just going toe-to-toe, round by round.
Logan Wade delivered a 2-out RBI single, grounded past the first baseman his first time up. Second run came home on an errant throw in from the outfield. That gave the Bandits what was at the time a 2-1 lead. The first pitch to Logan Wade, up high, ball 1. Kent from the wind, bunted in the air, and it's over the pitcher's mound, and that will give Logan Wade a strange-looking bunt single. I don't think that's what he planned to do, but it works just the same. A push bunt that was pushed further than any bunt that I've seen this year.
Yeah, I tell you what, I used to see a guy when I played in pro ball named Moda, and his family with the Manny Moda.
Manny Moda.
But his sons, the Modas, actually were very good bunters as well, and they mastered the art of bunting off a left-hander on a push bunt to second. And because most second basemen would play back on the cut of grass, they'd leg it out every time. And it was an easy hit for them every year, and they wouldn't drag down third base line because obviously with the lefties they fall down the line, but they push it at the second baseman, and I don't think it was completely intentional, but really good placement by Logan for a hit.
Ryan Battaglia takes a strike. Bandits first baseman struck out looking his first time up, and he's behind in the count 0-2. Left-handed pitchers fall off the mound with their momentum carrying them towards the third base side, so that leaves the entire first base side of the infield wide open. Usually, though, a push bunt or a drag bunt, if you want to call it that, is on the ground.
Correct. That was just a nice little soft line drive to second.
Swing and a miss, and Battaglia is dispatched quickly on 3 pitches, 3 strikes, out number 2. 4th strikeout for Kent, as we take a look at that nasty 12-6 curveball from Kent on the Suki Bowl replay.
Yeah, and that's where you start seeing he's throwing a little bit harder and getting a little bit more downward action on it, not leaving it up, and really good location. And he's starting to get back into his rhythm here in the 3rd.
Here's Mitch Nielsen. He grounded to short early in his first at-bat. He takes up high, ball 1. Nielsen getting the start tonight for the first time. Made a couple late game appearances in round 8. Over 1 with a walk entering the series. And he takes up high, 2-0. Nielsen has been a mainstay with the Bandits since the beginning. Now, he only played in a game each in the 12-13 and 13-14 seasons, but this is year number 9 for him. Career .270 hitter with 29 home runs, including 8 last year. 2-1.
Yeah, he has been a mainstay for the organization, a switch hitter, and obviously at this stage with the elbow injury, he's only really able to hit from the right side of the plate. So, but good opportunity for David to inject him into the lineup, particularly with the playoff push, and may have to see a tough lefty.
Couple lefties lined up for Canberra this series. We'll see how David Nielsen manages that. 2-2 the count now. Tomorrow's pitching matchup, Kyle Kinman against Travis Blackley. And for the doubleheader on Saturday, Frank Gailey and Tim Atherton, then Stephen Chambers and Ko Chen Lin. The 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Pair of strikeouts and a scoreless 3rd inning. Yes, a scoreless half inning for the first time tonight. It's tied up 4-4 as we go to the 4th on Bandits.tv.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire? Kiss me, baby, touch me. Kiss me, baby, love me.
Brisbane and Canberra are tied 4 apiece as we go to the top of the 4th inning at One Hub Stadium, powered by Optus. Ryan Bollinger has allowed 4 runs, 3 earned in his first 3 frames. With some stirring, but no throwing yet in the Bandits bullpen, he hopes to put up a 0 here and get through 5 in the opener of this pivotal Round 9 series. 8-9-1 due up for the Cavalry: Madison Youngener, Kuki Aoyagi, and Michael Francoso. Here's Youngener, and we had a chance to give you the main highlights and a very interesting story. Youngener, a pitcher by trade, getting his first start at DH tonight. Grounded to short his first time up, and he takes ball 1 here. Former major leaguer got in 8 games with the 2016 Atlanta Braves. He takes outside 2-0. And he held his own at the plate in his career. Mentioned that he is a .273 career hitter with 6 hits and 22 at-bats. Swing and a foul, and the count is 2-1. Fouled back, and the count is 2-2. Swing and a miss. He's down on strikes. Strikeout number 3 for Ryan Bollinger. It's out number 1 here in the 4th.
Yeah, good pitch by Bollinger right there, and good late action. Get a chance to see it on the Suki replay here. And you can see that really late downward action. And that's where it's most effective, because it's really the last 2 or 3 feet before it gets to home plate and then just drops out of the strike zone.
Kuki Aoyagi, the left fielder, struck out looking his first time up. Kind of has a shifty swing. Load bearing on the right foot, and then a sweep with all the weight being transferred to the left. Reminiscent of Ichiro from the left side. A couple other Asian players come to mind. That's kind of the swing style that you see more prevalent in the Pacific game. 0-2 the count.
Yeah, the Asian styles always incorporate lower half into their swing. And then they've actually mastered the art of the balance. You saw Batista with Toronto actually incorporate a lot of the lower half within his swing and generate a lot of power, and you're starting to see a lot more core and more explosion through the strike zone.
Fouled back.
Had a really interesting conversation when I was in Japan playing with Ichiro, and I asked him, especially with such a big leg kick, and he used to have a really over-exaggerated leg kick, and I even saw him where he kicked the catcher's mitt in a load with his lower half, and he said when pitcher separates, that's when he separates with his load, and that's how he used to work his timing.
Count is now 1-2. He played with Ichiro with Oryx. I didn't even have to look that up. I'm impressed with myself. Chopped down the third base line. It's foul.
That was the thing. It was 99 the year before he went to Seattle.
I think over in 2001.
Yeah, so one more year in Japan, and then the next year. But he had already been attending spring training with Seattle because I was in camp with him in Miyako Island, and he left Japan.
Check swing, and a delayed strike 3 call. Aoyagi goes down. Back-to-back strikeouts, 4 on the night now for Bollinger. 2 up, 2 down in the 4th.
Here's another pitch location right here, and once again, good location, particularly with 2 strikes and just on the inner half, and not a lot you can do with that as a hitter. So a little bit of a glance up at Lara and let him rung him up for out number 2. But Ichiro used to, because of the partnership with the Japanese owner, he would leave spring training for about 2 weeks, and they had extended spring trainings.
Hit high in the air, deep to center, but in the ballpark. And Campbell retires Francoso. That is the quick 1-2-3 inning that Ryan Bollinger was looking for. He picks up a pair of Ks, and we go to the bottom of the 4th. It's still tied between the Bandits and the Cavalry.
Careful, out there, champ.
How good is this?
The Bandits have led this ball game twice, and after a pair of zeros are put up on the scoreboard, they'd like to take another lead here before we get into the middle inning lull that tends to accompany games with early bursts of scoring. Canberra got 1 in the top of the 1st. Brisbane answered with 2 in the bottom half. Logan Wade with a 2-out RBI single. Canberra tied it up in the top of the 2nd with a single run. Michael Francoso delivered a 2-out RBI base hit. Brisbane took a 4-2 lead in the 2nd on Riley Unro's 2-run home run, and Canberra tied it up right after that in the 3rd. 2-run home run from Zach Wilson to make it 4 apiece. Stephen Kent pitched his first scoreless inning in the 3rd, working around a 1-out Logan Wade single, and he will face 8, 9, and 1 for the Bandits here in the 4th. Danny De La Calle, Mitch Ellis, and Riley Unruh. De La Calle singled his first time up. The right-handed hitting catcher awaits the first from Kent. High fastball, swing and a miss. That was the scouting report on Kent, and we've seen it so far. He does not mind at all throwing up in the zone. When you've got a fastball with good spin rate and some rise on it, you can get swings and misses on it.
No, he does, and he's always had a good live arm and a good pitch right there, and that's a lot better breaking ball. Earlier in the piece, he was almost like a lazy get it over breaking ball, but that's a very late action breaking ball and really tough to stay on.
For years, pitching coaches told pitchers, down, 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 everything down in the zone. Here's the 0-2. Fouled back. But now with the increased awareness of launch angle and elevating the baseball, you see a lot of hitters now trying to go down and get it. That creates an opportunity for pitchers who are willing to embrace the top half of the zone, get a lot of swings and misses, as Kent has done.
No, that's exactly right. So a lot of the old traditional philosophies, swing down on the ball, swing levels, hit line drives, all those philosophies are changing. But, I think the equipment's gotten better. I think the athletes are more in tune with their bodies now. There's a lot more core training. Had a very good conversation with Gary McCoy this afternoon at batting practice.
Chop towards third. Tough play for the third baseman, and Warner throws just in time and just close enough to Wilson to retire De La Calle for the first out.
And Gary being, the high performance man. Here's a play again by Warner, and really good job. A good route to the baseball. And you see where his momentum now is carrying him to first, and makes a good throw and just up the line, but able to get De La Calle getting down the line for out number one. But he and I were actually talking about things with everything they're talking about, spin rates and and they're talking about velocity and velo off bat.
Mitch Ellis, a family friend of Gary McCoy, swings the first pitch and hits a hard one-hopper to the third baseman. Another chance for Warner, and he completes it very quickly. 2 outs here in the fourth inning as Warner scoops it up.
A good play by Warner and finish it. But one thing Gary said was really interesting. He said, what they've got to start looking at is forget velocity and things like that. Let's look at what the average ball velocity off the bat is coming off, because you can be a guy throwing 85 miles an hour, and Cole Minter is a classic example last weekend.
Inducing weak contact.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you start looking at what's the impact in the velocity off the barrel. And if you start seeing lower impact off the barrel off certain pitchers, no matter what the velo is that a better statistic to read now with everyone trying to read spin ratios and everything else? So it's not a bad analogy, because not necessarily have to be a hard thrower. I've seen hard throwers, and we've seen it this year. Trust me, the exit velocity on the bats have coming off quicker than when it's coming in, but you've seen guys that have less as far as velocity, but guys struggle to put the ball and barrel them up.
Riley Unroe had a nice exit velocity on his 2-run homer his last time up. He's 1 for 2, and he has a 2-1 count here with 2 down in the fourth. Kent delivers, and it's 3-1. Winton Bernard waits on deck.
He's one of the guys I've been watching, throughout the season. I think it really happened. He had a big home run. You were in Melbourne in at that game, and he had a big home run for Bandits, actually his first at the ABL. And each weekend he seems to get more and more comfortable at the plate. But I like to see that he looks a lot more confident in his at-bats, and I think he's been a significant game changer for the second half of the Bandits in that leadoff spot.
3-2 the count. Kent delivers the payoff pitch. Chopped to short. In between hop for Francoso, and throws in time to retire the speedy Unroe. It's a 1-2-3 fourth inning for Stephen Kent, who has now retired 6 of his last 7 batters faced. We go to the fifth, still tied 4 apiece on Bandits.tv.
At the Sporting Globe, we're a little different to other pubs and bars. We have more than just cooks, we have chefs. We have more than bar service, we have table service. We have more than live sporting events, we have atmosphere. And we have more than customers, we have fans. It's more than a sports bar, it's a Sporting Globe.
No one knows what the future of transportation will look like. Robots. But no matter what, Enterprise can help. You can rent a car for a road trip. Look, kids, nature. Oh, wow. You can rent a truck for a move. You can buy a car, commute in a van pool, or get picked up because your car is in a pool. My bad. Count on Enterprise, no matter where transportation goes next.
Let's go.
I love the future. How can Enterprise pick you up today?
Hey, Thomas.
Yeah?
Is it fun playing at festivals?
It's pretty good, mate. You get to see amazing places, meet new people. Everyone's just pumped to be there, and you get to do the sign-off.
Queensland, where life's beautiful one day and perfect the next.
Tied up 4 apiece in the round 9 opener between the Canberra Cavalry and the Coran Cove Brisbane Bandits. Paul Gonzalez and Eric Bramer with you on a nice night for baseball. We'd like to support baseball in all its forms wherever it's played. But Paul Gonzalez, I know there's a big under 16, under 18 tournament beginning tomorrow.
Yeah, the under 16th and under 18s nationals will start in Blacktown, and Queensland will open up 8:45 against Victoria Bees, and that's the under 18s. Will open up on Diamond 2, and then our under-16s will open up against WA at lunch.
Cam Warner hits a one-hopper to short, and the throw from Wade is low. Battaglia can't dig it, and Canberra has a leadoff base runner here in the 5th inning on what will likely be a throwing error from the shortstop Logan Wade.
Now, it'll be a good opportunity, so we get a chance to see Bidwell. We'll get an opportunity to represent Queensland under 18s. I think Queensland's going to field 2 very strong sides this year. Their preparation was outstanding by their coaching staffs. They got a chance to play some Japanese touring teams here in Brisbane post the Christmas period, and then the under-16s flew out early to Sydney, and they compete against New South Wales country team to prepare as well.
Our best to the Queensland side. Craig Massey steps in. He's reached base both times. In the first on a single, in the third on a walk. Came home to score 2 runs in his 2 times on base. 1-0 the count. A check of Warner at first. He doesn't dive, but he's in safely.
We talked about, how these guys working, particularly 2 great arms tonight going head-to-head, and see a lot of forced errors today on the Bandit side, which has actually really boosted Bollinger's pitch count. As we mentioned earlier in the piece, they would probably want to see him go 5. He's now into his 5th inning. If you take away a couple of the blemishes, it maybe allows him another inning. So see how deep in this ball game. Obviously, it's tied 4-4 here in the 5th, and he really hasn't looked like he's struggled all day. He still looks like he's in command.
4 strikeouts, 4 runs, 3 earned for the lefty. The 2-0. Foul back. One thing to keep an eye on for both of these teams is the lack of left-handed pitching in the bullpen. Both teams have multiple left-handed starters. We've seen a pair of them tonight. The only lefty reliever is for the Bandits, Ken Frosch. A delayed steal, and the throw down to second gets Warner. Delakaye, known for his arm behind the plate, and don't test him. I'm not sure what was going on here. Maybe a missed hit and run sign?
No, look, it was a delayed steal. Normally it's a 3 shuffle and then a go, so it didn't look like he was trying to steal off Bollinger, trying to catch Delakaye sleeping, and obviously he's shown his plus arm behind the plate with a strike to second base and out number 1.
3-1 the count to Craig Massey. And that was ball 4, but Massey checked his swing and went around. The count is 3-2. Payoff pitch from Bollinger. There's ball 4. Pitch later than Massey wanted it. But the Cavalry get their runner at first back after the caught stealing. Zach Wilson will bat. Second walk of the ballgame for Bollinger. Both of them have come to Craig Massey, and here's Wilson, who hit a 2-run homer to left center field his last time up. The homer for Wilson, his 12th, extends his lead in the league. Down and in, ball 1 from Bollinger. TJ Bennett with a nice round 8 is knocking on the door for the home run lead. Here comes Jim Bennett, the pitching coach, with some stirring now in the Bandits bullpen.
Yeah, I think it's a really good timeout. I think what Benny would have been seeing right now is how he's maybe trying to force the ball into the strike zone. He's now getting his pitch count up into the mid-80s, so now it probably just settling him back down and say, look, I need to stretch you. Let's get through this inning. And you see there's an arm currently heating up in the pin now.
Wilson now has a 2-homer lead over TJ Bennett of the Bandits and Luke Hughes of the Aces for the home run title. Offense is down across the league after last year's offensive explosion. But a home run leader who will end the season with 13-14 seems about right.
That's a good number.
In a 40-game season.
Yeah, 40-game season, limited at-bats.
Another base hit for Wilson, this time a solid single to left. Massey checks in at second. David Candelas will bat. He's 1 for 2. And it looks like Cameron McVeigh warming for the Bandits. Bandits hope they don't have to use him until the 6th inning. They'd love to get Bollinger through 5. But the Cavalry are threatening to break the 4-4 tie with a pair on and 1 down for their 5-hitter.
And this is where Bollinger could use that 2-ball and get himself out of a situation. So
big swing and a miss, 0-1. The only out in the inning came on the base paths. Cavalry tried to execute a delayed steal. Cam Warner, who reached on an error in the first place. Here's a base hit to left field. Charging is Bernard. He's up with the throw, and it will keep the runners in place. Throw goes up the line a little bit after it's deflected, but the bases will be loaded with 1 down for Michael Kraus. And all eyes on the Bandits bullpen. Does Bollinger get another chance to get out of this jam?
Well, it'll be interesting right here because you've got the lefty-righty matchup and you got bases due. So I did see Benny reach up and see if his arm was ready. So see if David makes a move or he sticks with his big lefty and try to get himself out of this inning.
Kraus due up, then Perkins behind him. Canberra trying to take the lead here for the first time since the first inning.
Kraus' tough double play combination as well. He's a plus runner, so defensively they'll have to be quick if they're going to try to convert the 2.
Bollinger does his part. He begins the at-bat with a called strike. Kraus is 0 for 2 with a fly to right and a swinging strikeout. Infield at double play depth. They will try if they get a hard ground ball. The 0-1. Kraus with a soft line drive into shallow right field. It's a base hit. Massey will score. Wilson will be held. And the Cavalry take a 5-4 lead. 5 straight men have reached here in the 5th inning. Not well hit, but it's a line drive in the box score, and Michael Kraus comes through with an RBI single.
Yeah, really good job by Kraus. And like I said, it's not how hard he hit it. It's just staying inside the baseball and using the whole field, and a good job of executing, now making it 5-4 in the 5th inning.
Kyle Perkins is 1 for 2 with a double. Now the corners tighten up a little bit. First pitch lifted foul out of play. McVeigh continues to throw. The 0-1. On the inside corner, a called strike. It's 0-2. The 0-2 pitch. Bounced in the dirt, and De La Calle saves the wild pitch by getting in front of it. Bollinger's pitch count up in the 90s now. Infield error, a walk, and 3 singles for the Cavalry, as a fastball misses just off the inside corner. Close pitch. Wilson at third, Candelas at second, Kraus at first. The 2-2 pitch to Perkins. Fouled at the plate. Perkins just got a piece. Got our crowd mic. I think it's okay. Perkins ready for another 2-2. Bollinger delivers. Chopped right back to the pitcher. Bollinger goes home. And they're going to tag Perkins for what is right now a double play. Perkins tripped out of the box. And that's a strange double play. Score at 1-2, and the Cavalry scored just 1 in the 5th inning. Let's take another look at exactly what happened on the Suki Bowl replay.
I've never seen that ever in my history of watching games, and then all of a sudden Delikai almost got taken out. You see it here on the replay. Just snipered himself. Never seen that. I don't think you've ever seen it either. And then he doesn't get down the line, and they convert the 2. So it is a very unorthodox double play, but a big double play for Bollinger, and gets the Bandits out of the inning.
We go to break. Canberra on top, 5-4.
It's always been you.
It's always been us.
(5-4), the Cavalry lead the Bandits as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Top half of the inning saw this strange double play as Ryan Bollinger started a 1-2 double play. Kyle Perkins tripped out of the box, and we have not seen that before. He just took a tumble, and if I were him, I wouldn't run it out to first either.
No, I wouldn't either. So, but it was a good reaction. He just obviously dusts himself off, and good awareness by Delikai after the slide into home plate to have the awareness to tag him out for the out in double play, and probably one of the most unorthodox double plays you'll see in baseball.
Bandits playing from behind for the first time since the 1st inning. 2, 3, and 4 due up, beginning with Winton Bernard. First pitch, a high fastball and a check swing. On appeal, it's a ball, 1-0. Bernard 1 for 2 with a fly out to right and a single. Stephen Kent had a rough start to his outing, but he has retired 7 of his last 8 batters. Called strike, the count is 1-1. The pitch. Fouled straight back, 1-2. Bernard now batting .269 on the season. Batting average held up by a 4-hit game in his 2nd career ABL game. He's had his ups and downs, but he has been a great addition to this team. Here's the 1-2. Off the very end of the bat, dribbled towards third. Warner charges and throws out at first base. Cam Warner continues to play a nice third base. He makes another play charging in against a speedy base runner.
Yeah, he does a really good job, and look, he keeps his composure. Primarily at university, he was at Texas Christian University, playing a couple Caldwell series.
You had to mention that.
I had to mention that, but he was the second baseman, but he's done a really good job at third tonight, and another good play and a big out number 1 for Canberra.
The former Horned Frog up in the booth with me. Andrew Campbell 1 for 2 with a single, takes a called strike.
And I did see over the weekend, I think Dallas won their playoff or their push for the playoffs game over the weekend.
0-1 inside. You talking NFL?
NFL.
Yeah. Cowboys came out on top. My Vikings were nowhere to be found. Surprise, surprise. 1-1, up the middle and into center field. Andrew Campbell has his second base hit of the ball game, and the Bandits have the tying run on base in the 5th inning.
Subi's had some really good at-bats against this tough lefty and really got the offense sparked in the first. So can the Bandits keep up the pressure and the momentum? We talked about this being almost like a heavyweight championship fight tonight, and it's turned out to be with a score 5-4 here in the 5th.
TJ Bennett has hit the ball hard twice, a single in the first, and a fly out to deep left in the 3rd. Lefty-lefty matchup here. That hasn't bothered Bennett any this season. The first pitch. Bennett's early, and he chops it foul up the first base line. Elsewhere around the Australian Baseball League, they are in a rain delay in Sydney, scoreless in the bottom of the 2nd between the first place Blue Sox and the Auckland Tuatara. About to get started in a little bit in Perth. Heat hosting Geelong Korea in that one. Geelong Korea and Auckland, both last place teams, have only the opportunity to play spoiler in their inaugural ABL seasons. 0-1, swing and a miss, 0-2. We saw Auckland and ultimately took 5 out of the 8 games against the Tuatara this year. But I think it's safe to say there are some building blocks for future success on that roster.
Look, I agree with you. I think for year one in the inaugural year in the ABL, considering most teams have had a massive head start of building their foundations, I think they really established themselves in year one, and I think they'll grow from there. I think I talked about it earlier in the piece when they transition to their new facility. I think they'll make some big acquisitions over the winter.
TJ Bennett couldn't lay off the letter-high fastball. He goes down on strikes. Strikeout number 6 for Stephen Kent. That'll bring up Logan Wade.
But on my scorecard, I saw a lot more positives to build from, and I think they'll have the full support of the country and the brand moving forward.
Logan Wade is 2 for 2 with a pair of singles and an RBI. Takes down in the dirt, and Perkins smothers it. 5 runs on 8 hits for the Cavalry. 4 runs on 8 hits for the Bandits.
So, Eric, you were mentioning to me last weekend that you've been acquired for this season, and you'll be with...
We'll see. Not public yet.
Okay. Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially. Yeah. In discussions.
Yeah. 2-0 the count. I don't want to break news for the team, so... but yeah, I know I'll be somewhere in the minor league season stateside, which is good. Letter high strike, and the count is 2-1. Andrew Campbell, always a threat to steal at first. And thinking the same thing, Kent throws over. He spent this past minor league season with the AAA Colorado Springs Sky Sox. May they rest in peace. They've relocated to San Antonio in the Pacific Coast League.
I think there'd be a pitcher would be happy about that move.
There goes Campbell. The throw down to second is right on the money. And Andrew Campbell is caught stealing to end the 5th inning. Great throw from Cam Perkins behind the plate as we take another look at the Suki Bowl replay.
Yeah, really good job right there. It looked like Subi tried to take the bag to put himself in scoring position, but doesn't turn out too bad because Logan will lead off the inning when they enter the bottom of the 6th.
The gamble does not pay off for the Bandits, and we go to the 6th inning. Canberra is still leading 5-4.
Great job, Chef.
Thanks.
Who wants a drink?
Let's go, Archer. Beers away.
Thank you, Archer.
Looks like these guys are working up a tropical thirst, Archer.
Thank you, Archer!
Beer
Archer! Yeah!
Good boy, Archer.
We go to the 6th at One Hub Stadium powered by Optus, and that's it for Ryan Bollinger. Cameron McVeigh enters in an Alderley higher pitching change, trying to keep this a one-run deficit. Bollinger went 5 innings complete, his longest outing of the year, allowing 5 runs, 4 earned on 8 hits and 2 walks. He struck out 4. And you look at the numbers for McVeigh, the ERA a bit unsightly at 8.44, but a small sample size, just 10 2/3 innings. And he's had a couple bad outings really spoil what has been, by and large, a pretty successful season.
I agree, and I tell you what, and I know David and Jimmy would have been speaking to him, is let's wipe everything off out of the memory bank and the database, and let's start fresh. Right now, if he can come out and pitch to his ability where he has electric stuff, he's a 93 to 96 mile an hour fastball with an absolutely filthy split finger. If he can establish himself for these next 8 games, that's exactly what David and Jimmy will want out of him, particularly with that playoff push. They need him to really establish himself and pitch to his abilities.
1-1 the count to Madison Younginer. McVeigh picked up one of his 2 wins against these Cavalry in Canberra back on the 6th of December, pitching a scoreless inning. Called strike, and the count is 1-2.
And that's a good pitch right there. He comes over the top, and the ball really stays flat. When I say flat, there's not a lot of run or sink in the baseball, so he throws a hard four-seamer, but there is a lot of velo. He's just got to make sure he keeps the ball down in the zone.
Fair down the third base line and into the corner. Younginer rounding first, on his way to second. He takes a turn around second, but he will hold up there with a leadoff double in the 6th inning. And Younginer is on the board in the ABL. The pitcher turned hitter has an extra base knock for his first hit.
And that's what we were just talking about. He made a really good pitch for second strike, and he made a mistake up in the strike zone, and Younginer was able to shoot the ball left field down the line, and now he's got a leadoff double for his first hit of the ABL.
Kuki Aoyagi has struck out twice. This is a bunting situation for the 9th place Cavalry batter. He swings at the first pitch and sends it over the drawn-in first baseman into the right field line. Younginer rounding third, he comes home to score, and the Cavalry now lead it 6-4 after ambushing Cameron McVeigh with a pair of base hits. That would have gotten over even a first baseman at normal depth, but that was the type of swing that you try to do to get over the drawn-in corners.
Yeah, really good job in the at-bat, and able to shoot the ball the right side, and exactly what you want to see on a leadoff double here in the 6th. We are now in the business end of this ball game, and able to shoot the ball on the right to drive in now the 6th run of the game for the Canberra Cavalry.
Lineup turns over for Michael Francoso. He's 1 for 3 with an RBI single. He takes outside ball 1. That game that McVeigh won in Canberra was the series opener, and it was started by Stephen Kent. Bandits scored 2 in the top of the 8th inning to take it 6-4 over the Cavalry. That's our score right now, as the visiting Canberra squad tries to take the opener and keep their winning streak alive. 1-1 the count. Runner goes, the 1-1 is down and away, and another line drive throw to second base. Danny De La Calle cuts down Kuki Aoyagi, second caught stealing in as many innings. And in game 1 of a series, that should shut down the running game for quite some time.
I'll tell you what it did. That's a big jump on that right there, so it was always going to be a tough play, and De La Calle just absolutely threw a strike to second base to Logan Wade for out number 1. That's a big out, because there could have been another runner at second with nobody out.
Count is 2-1. The pitch down and away, 3-1. Both teams, of course, want to win this series, but for the Bandits, as long as they split and retain the tiebreaker over the Cavalry, they should be in good shape to at least make the playoffs. There's a 5-pitch walk to Francoso, and McVeigh has not yet retired a batter. I mean, the Bandits took 3 out of 4 in Canberra, so the first tiebreaker in the event of a regular season record tie is head-to-head.
No, it is. But we talked about it. You know, you're only one game out of first. Against you're chasing Sydney, who's one game ahead of you. If they could take 3 out of 4 and then sweep the Geelong series, they could potentially put themselves in with an opportunity to host a finals, and that's ideally what you would want to do as a franchise, particularly how well the Bandits play at home. So
Canberra's road is a little bit tougher, but they hope to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Run the table and get that top seed.
And I would say I would prefer our schedule finishing in Geelong, as opposed to having to travel to Perth and then compete against a very, very tough offensive ball club.
Cam Warner is 0 for 3. He reached on an error his last time, and he takes ball 1 from McVeigh. And it's not just playing a good Perth team, but it's the travel involved in that.
There's a number of factors. You're absolutely right.
2-0 the count. Perth, with a strong finish, could guarantee home field advantage in the semifinal round, and that would be a very difficult road trip in the playoffs for someone to take.
And if it turned out to be, that's probably the worst. I imagine see how they would play that one out.
High fly ball down the right field line. Long run for Ellis. In fair territory, he makes the catch for the second out.
They did talk about if Perth was to host a potential grand finals, most teams would elect, if they were going to choose, most teams pick 2 and 3 in the playoff format of the best of 3. They would play on the Thursday in Perth, and then make Friday the travel day. And allow them. So more than likely, let's say hypothetically, it was any other team, they would probably fly out on the Wednesday, adjust, and then play the Thursday evening.
The benefit of both teams.
Correct. And then with the travel day in between.
Here's Craig Massey. He's reached base all 3 times. A single, a pair of walks, and 3 runs scored. 1 already in for the Cavalry here in the 6th inning to extend their lead to 6-4. The pitch, knee-high strike, 0-1. Sam Holland warming in the Bandits' pen. Holland has quietly become one of the most dependable arms in the Bandits' relief corps. Another steal attempt. Francoso takes off, and again, a bullet from behind home plate from the right arm of Danny De La Calle. He has thrown out 3 prospective base stealers in the last 2 innings, and Francoso is dead meat to end the top of the 6th. Wow. Feet first slide, and Francoso may have thought he snuck it in, but the umpire will give the fielder and the defense the benefit of that call every single time. 6-4, our new score at One Hub Stadium, powered by Optus.
Careful, out there, champ.
How good is this?
The Bandits now trail by 2 to the Canberra Cavalry. 6-4 our new score as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Wade, Battaglia, and Nielsen due up for Brisbane against Stephen Kent, who allowed 2 runs each in the first 2 innings, but has settled down nicely since then. He now has a chance to get his team through the middle innings and hand it off to the bullpen with a lead against the 3-time defending champions. Paul Gonzalez and Eric Bramer with you for the Round 9 opener, the final home series of the year for the Bandits. And we want to clarify something. Our thanks to Chris Coleman, the broadcaster for the Cavalry, for clarifying that Canberra is at home against the Perth Heat to end the regular season. That makes things a little bit easier for them going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Easier in the sense that no travel, and easier that at least you're at home. But you're right, we got a chance to see him here in Brisbane, and they were a very, very formidable offensive team.
Logan Wade is 2 for 2 with an RBI. He had his 3rd plate appearance interrupted by the Campbell caught stealing to end the 5th. He takes a pair of balls from Kent, who has the pitch count now up to 87. From our perspective, down the third base line, we cannot see the Canberra bullpen, but we would have to imagine that Keith Ward has it warming in the 6th inning. High pop-up our way, and out of play. Oh, a couple rows deep, just in front of us. Those high ones, at least everyone has a chance to look up from their phones or their food or whatever and be aware that it's falling, but it can be tough to navigate sometimes.
Tell you what, especially those are the hardest. I mean, I had a glove on and I played, and I hated high pop-ups, so I could imagine a fan would feel with a beverage in their hand.
2-1 lifted to shallow right. Candelas comes in and makes the catch to retire Wade for the first out of the 6th inning.
Kent looks like he's actually settled in really well after the early part of the ball game, and you would imagine 6-0 this year. He's got his pitch count up, so he's very familiar going deep into his pitch count, so he still looks very strong tonight.
Ryan Battaglia has struck out twice, quite quickly in both plate appearances. Looking to put the ball in play here as he lifts a foul, 0-1. Mentioned that Lutz, Sutherland, and Dan Nielsen are all options off the bench for David Nielsen, the manager. And with no lefties in the bullpen for the Cavalry, Keith Ward can't counter a pinch hitting move with a relief option. Once Kent gets out of this ball game, and it may be soon based on his pitch count, we may see a very different looking Bandits lineup.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine Lutz, you're right, Sutherland, a few of the big boppers would come off the bench to see if they could create some offensive damage.
Down and in, 2-1 the count. One of the cardinal rules of broadcasting is don't ask a question you don't know the answer to, but I will ask you a question. Do the Bandits have a full developmental roster for this series with the under-18 tournament going on?
They do. I believe they do have a development player with Myers, but they would have lost Bidwell, obviously, to the state title. So don't know if it's actually a full development squad this year, for this series, excuse me.
Bidwell, Kusamoto, and Zamora have all seen significant time in the home games for the Bandits. 2-2. Foul tip into the mitt. Third time that Battaglia has fanned, and it's the second out of the 6th inning for Stephen Kent. 7 strikeouts now for the lefty, and after the rocky start, he is on cruise control.
It is. Pitch up in the zone, just blew it by right by Battaglia, and shows his arm and his velocity is still in good condition. And we are in the 6th inning, but he still looks very strong for Canberra.
Mitch Nielsen is 0 for 2, still looking for his first hit of the season. He takes up high ball 1. Called strike, it's 1-1. Looks like Sam Holland is done throwing. We'll take that to mean that he's going to come in for the 7th. The 1-1. Fouled back, 1-2. The hope for Mitch Nielsen is that he can get back into the swing of things, figuratively and literally, by the time the regular season wraps, and he can be a playoff contributor, even if it's off the bench or in a DH-only role. The 1-2. Breaking pitch, down and in.
Still a good pitch right there by Kent, and we talk about that late action. That was a really good pitch and tough for Mitch to lay off of.
The 2-2. Up high, 3-2. Danny De La Calle waits on deck. Bandits would love to bring the tying run to the plate as many times as possible as they look to draw closer. The payoff pitch to Nielsen. Popped up, first base side, backing out of play. Infield logo sponsors for this series: Enterprise Rent-A-Car on the first base side and Alderley Hire on the third base side. Thanks as always for your support. 3-2. Hit hard on the ground, deep in the hole towards short. Francoso knows he has time, and he throws on to first to retire Nielsen and the Bandits in the 6th inning. Canberra retains their 6-4 lead as we go to the 7th here on Bandits.tv.
At the Sporting Globe, we're a little different to other pubs and bars. We have more than just cooks, we have chefs. We have more than bar service, we have table service. We have more than live sporting events, we have atmosphere. And we have more than customers, we have fans. It's more than a sports bar, it's a Sporting Globe.
No one knows what the future of transportation will look like. Robots. But no matter what, Enterprise can help. You can rent a car for a road trip. Look, kids, nature. Oh, wow. You can rent a truck for a move. You can buy a car, commute in a van pool, or get picked up because your car is in a pool. My bad. Count on Enterprise, no matter where transportation goes next.
Let's go.
I love the future. How can Enterprise pick you up today?
Hey, Thomas.
Yeah?
Is it fun playing at festivals?
It's pretty good, mate. You get to see amazing places, meet new people. Everyone's just pumped to be there, and you get to do the sign-off.
Queensland, where life's beautiful one day and perfect the next.
Another Alderley Hire pitching change for the Bandits as we go to the top of the 7th inning here in Brisbane. Sam Holland comes on. Holland has been great out of the bullpen. He began the year in the starting rotation. In fact, his last start came in Canberra against these Cavalry. You see the season numbers, a 3.81 ERA. He's 2-0 on the year. Against the Cavalry, he allowed 4 runs, 3 earned in 3 2/3. Gave up a big home run, but beyond that was pretty good. And he will be tasked with facing the heart of the Cavalry order, 3, 4, and 5, Massey, Wilson, and Candelas. Cameron McVeigh went 1 inning, allowing 1 run on 2 hits. He walked a batter, and his catcher, Danny De La Calle, recorded 2 of the outs on caught stealing attempts.
If you want to talk about Mr. Consistency, you know, on the other side of the diamond, not at the plate, he's probably been the most consistent arm for the Bandits this year. He's, like you said, he's played multiple roles throughout the year, from starter to setup to whatever role David need him to do, but he's been the most consistent guy out of the pen this year.
4 2/3 innings of relief across 2 appearances in the Auckland series. He allowed only 1 run. Craig Massey had his 4th plate appearance interrupted with the caught stealing to end the 6th inning. He's back out in the left-handed batter's box, and he takes a called strike from Sam Holland. Massey 1 for 1 with a pair of walks and 3 runs scored. Holland steps off, resets the signs, and looks in. The 0-1, moving Massey's feet, it's down and in. Stephen Kent threw 6 innings. He may go back out for the 7th inning, but you'd have to imagine he's close to the end. 2-1 now the count to Craig Massey. Kent has thrown 101 pitches, 69 for strikes. But you look at his last time out, that was against the Sydney Blue Sox. He picked up the win. He went 7 innings and threw 115 pitches. So he may have some room yet to go as he tries to improve to a perfect 7-0 on the year. 3-1 now the count to Craig Massey with Zach Wilson waiting on deck. The 3-1 on the corner, a strike, and the count runs full. The payoff pitch, lifted foul our way out of play. Holland looks in. Another 3-2 coming to Craig Massey. And it misses just outside, maybe a touch low, for a leadoff walk here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, really good at bat by Massey. Worked the count to full and laid off a borderline pitch down in the zone. And that's exactly what Canberra want to do, is continue to put pressure on the Brisbane Bandits now in the 7th inning, still up 6-4.
Zach Wilson has had a nice night. The league's home run leader, added to his total with his 12th of the year in the 3rd inning. Added a single in the 5th. He's so far 2 for 3. High pop-up, first base side, well out of play, 0-1. 6 runs on 10 hits for the Cavalry, 4 runs on 8 hits for the Bandits. Canberra broke the tie with a single run in the top of the 5th inning, added an insurance run in the 6th, and now they look for at least one more here in the 7th. The 0-1. Tapped with some spin up the first base line. It lands fair but rolls foul. De La Calle and Holland embrace as they stop the baseball. Were you taught anything special in little rollers like that? I was taught as soon as it goes foul, you can do whatever you want with it. You can kick it, you can fall on it like a grenade. Just make sure it doesn't go back fair again.
And I've seen, now with YouTube and everything else, I've seen balls that come off the bat like that and end up hitting the lip and coming back into play.
0-2. And Wilson doesn't bite on the slider from Holland.
But I can say, if I said lip at this field, Cooper Thompson would...
No, it's
actually manicured to the T. So we've seen some amazing work by his team.
The 1-2 pitch. Inside, almost hit Wilson, and the count is 2-2. We've got another 6 o'clock start tomorrow on Bandits Not TV. We'd love to have you at the ballpark, but if you can't make it, you can watch us on the stream. And then a doubleheader on Saturday. First pitches at 2:30 and 6. ABL TV will handle those broadcasts. 2-2. Another close pitch, just misses. And the count runs full. Paul Latta has had a good strike zone behind the plate tonight. Anytime you go through a game without saying the umpire's name, he's had a good night. 3-2 pitch. Another close pitch, and it's taken just low for a second consecutive walk. That pushes Massey to second. 2 free passes begin the 7th inning, and that's not how Sam Holland wanted to begin his outing.
No, he didn't. And once again, another patient at bat by Canberra, and just shows their plate discipline as a ball club. It borderline pitches that sometimes you'll get a lot of younger hitters chase and just unable to get the call. But good eye by the hitters now forcing first and second with still nobody out.
David Candelas is 2 for 3 with a pair of singles. First pitch misses inside, ball 1. And here comes Jim Bennett with a well-timed mound visit. This is out of character for Sam Holland. Again, he hasn't been missing by much, but he is usually around the zone.
And we talked about it. I mean, these guys have been very impressive. They just came off a big series against Sydney where they swept Sydney, and they continue to play with momentum and very, very strong 1 through 9, as they've shown tonight.
Massey at second, Wilson at first. Infield at double play depth, looking for a hard ground ball. The 1-0. 2-0. And if you're Canberra, you wait for Holland to prove that he knows where the strike zone is. You can afford to be very patient here in the driver's seat. The 2-0 to Candelas. Driven hard but foul down the right field line, over the Bandits' bullpen and out of play. Looks like Justin Erasmus beginning to warn in the Bandits' pen. If this isn't Holland's night, you want to save him for later in the series. The 2-1. Again fouled off, this time behind home plate. 2-2. Holland not traditionally a strikeout pitcher, but he had a great series against Auckland. Actually pitched in 3 games against the Tuatara. One of them went in the books as a road game because it was makeup, but he struck out 10 batters in 6 2/3 innings. The 2-2 is sent foul back to the screen. 3 hits, 1 run in 6 2/3 with 3 walks and 10 strikeouts. Trying to recapture some of that magic here in round 9. 2-2 coming to David Candelas, and another foul. The Bandits got off on the wrong foot defensively with an error in the first inning, and they've committed 2. But how different does this game look if Danny De La Calle doesn't throw out 3 base runners trying to steal second?
And the quirky double play.
Yeah. Bandits are lucky to be this close. Another foul.
Good at bat by Candelas. We talk about, he's probably one of the toughest outs in the Australian Baseball League. Has a great history in the league as well as a Team Australian representative, and once again having a good at bat against Sam Holland here in the 7th inning with men on first and second and nobody out.
Michael Krause waits on deck. Another 2-2 to Candelas. Lifted foul. Crowd hasn't had much to cheer about since the 2nd inning, when Riley Unro's 2-run homer gave the Bandits a 4-2 lead. And now time called. Pitcher and catcher going through multiple signs with the runner at second base. Two-two, tapped weakly, left side, charging his Wade. His only play is to first, and he does complete the out. But it serves as a sacrifice, advancing both runners, with Massey going to third and Wilson going to second.
Yeah, really good at bat by Candelas right there. He battled with 2 strikes, and that's what a veteran hitter is going to do. He's going to find a way to put the ball in play, and that was a really productive out for Canberra. Now moving the runners to second and third. That'll force the defense in.
And I think they're going to intentionally walk Krause to fill the base and set up the force. Well, that's the play. Krause will be given the free pass. So the Cavalry, by one way or another, have loaded the bases with 3 walks, and now Kyle Perkins will bat. Perkins, remember, was the one who grounded into that weird 1-2 double play with the bases loaded his last time up. Perkins slipped coming out of the batter's box, perhaps tripping over his own lumber. And he takes outside ball 1.
The hard thing will be Perkins runs well, and you've got Kraus now on first base who runs well, so play in the middle will be tough as far as to turn there. So the Bandits have to be on their toes defensively here with 1 out.
2-0. De La Calle has been trying his best to frame these pitches for Holland, but he has not gotten too many called strikes. The pitch to Perkins. Inside, 3-0 with no place to put him, and Madison Youngener waiting on deck.
Now Perkins in this situation really is in the driver's seat. He's 3-0 with 1 out and bases loaded, so has the opportunity to take the pitch, or particularly they could green light him and he can do some damage.
Perkins takes a 4-pitch walk to force in another run. 4th walk of the inning. Massey comes home from 3rd, and the Cavalry now lead it 7-4. And here comes David Nielsen. He's seen enough. No hits so far in the 7th inning, but 1 run already in, and 3 more ducks on the pond for the Cavalry, who will look to break this game open against a new Bandits pitcher. It'll be Justin Erasmus coming on in an Alderley Hire pitching change. More on the righty after this.
It's always been you.
It's always been us.
Alderley Hire pitching change for David Nielsen and the Bandits. It's Justin Erasmus coming on in relief of Sam Holland, who just didn't have it tonight. Holland walked 4, 1 intentionally, led in a run and left the bases loaded while getting only 1 out. Erasmus's numbers a bit high in the ERA, 6.53, but he has struck out more than 9 batters per 9 innings. And if you're looking for inspiration, perhaps his best outing of the year came against these Cavalry back in round 4. He entered in the middle innings earlier in the ballgame than this. He struck out 5 batters in 2 1/3 perfect innings. Bandits won that game 6-4. That was the series opener that we talked about earlier. He will face Madison Youngener, who doubled with a hard grounder down the third base line his last time up for his first career ABL hit. Bases loaded here with the corners pinching in. First pitch misses down low, ball 1. The 1-0. There's a strike, 1-1. Wilson at third, Kraus at second, Perkins at first for the Cavalry, who don't yet have a hit in the 7th inning. Erasmus delivers. Youngener hits it hard on the ground, past the shortstop Wade into center field. It'll score Wilson. Here comes Kraus. The throw not in time. A 2-run single from Madison Youngener, And the Cavalry have broken this game open. They now lead it 9-4.
Once again, a timely at bat, and Bandits continue to find their struggles on the mound tonight against a very potent offense, and now they find themselves behind 9-4 in the 7th inning. So Canberra continue to manufacture in big opportunities, and that's exactly what you want to do as you make your push for your playoffs.
Wade kind of took an angled dive at that. We'll trust that he did what he could to try and keep that in front of him. Here's Kuki Aoyagi. He's 1 for 3 with an RBI single to right his last time up. Called strike, and it's 1-1. Both of those runs are charged to Sam Holland, and he's also responsible for Perkins at second base. The 1-1. Down and away, 2-1. Bandits need to answer in the bottom of the 7th inning. With now a 5-run lead, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Stephen Kent call it a day. Cash in those chips and go to the showers with 6 solid innings and a chance to win his 7th ball game. That's a swing from Aoyagi. Annie M. It's a twister. 2-2. Erasmus delivers. Foul tip into the mitt. Skyfleet Hino strikeout for Justin Erasmus. 3rd time Aoyagi has gone down on strikes tonight. 2 down now for Michael Francoso. Francoso 1 for 3 with an RBI single and a walk. The pitch on the inside corner, strike 1. Cavalry entered play tonight, winners of 10 of their last 13. Bandits won 4 of 5 in the last place Auckland Tuatara in round 8. Breaking pitch misses just off the corner, and it's 1-1. Both teams tied for second in the division with a 19-13 mark. Game behind the first place Sydney Blue Sox, and that game in Sydney against the Tuatara is still in a rain delay, scoreless in the 2nd inning. 1-1. This is down and away, 2-1. The next from Erasmus. Fouled out of the mid of the catcher De La Calle, 2-2. 3 runs are in for the Cavalry here in the 7th inning. They have scored the last 7 runs in this ball game. Bandits led it 4-2 after 2 innings. Francoso ready for another 2-2. The pitch. Wasted foul left side.
As you mentioned, I think it will be interesting to see if Kent comes out in the 7th or they call it a night. I can't see in the bullpen, but he's done a brilliant job tonight once again. Be pushing for his 7th win of the year.
2-2. Fouled again. Francoso hangs tough. Francoso has played a great game defensively. Cavalry made their lone error back in the 1st. A strong but one-hopped throw from Candelas in right field going to 3rd. It wasn't even that far off target, but the runner screened the 3rd baseman Warner and it went wide. 2-2 again. Bounced in the dirt, and the count runs full. That'll give both runners a head start, with Cam Warner waiting on deck. He would be the 9th man to bat in the inning. Canberra has outplayed the Bandits in every facet of the game tonight, save for perhaps base running. Runners go, the 3-2. High and deep to right center field. Campbell is back, and he has room on the warning track to make the catch for the 3rd out. Almost 3 more runs for the Cavalry, but they'll have to settle for a 3 spot in the top of the 7th inning. They extend their lead over the Bandits to 9-4 as we stretch in Brisbane.
Can't you see my heart is lost without you? And your kisses make me love you more. And your kisses make me love you more. Can't you hear the sound of love and desire?
Cove Brisbane Bandits are looking for a little magic here at home. They've allowed 7 unanswered runs thus far, and they will try and answer in the bottom of the 7th inning with Stephen Kent still on the bump for the Cavalry.
We talked about we didn't have access to the bullpen, but obviously Kent wants to continue to go deeper in this ball game, and like I said, he looks strong in the 6th, and obviously he wants to come back here in the 7th, and this is a ball game he wants.
He's not going to pitch for another week. And in game 1 of a pivotal 4-game series, every batter that he faces is a batter not faced by the bullpen.
Correct. And look, at the end of the day, it's always going to be, he's a veteran lefty, and he's going to know his body better than anybody else. And like I said, he hasn't looked like he's labored tonight, and he still looks in good form.
Danny De La Calle checks his swing and takes ball 1. 8-9-1 due up for the Bandits against Kent. De La Calle is 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored. Since the 2nd inning, Kent has allowed just 2 singles and no runs. And he struck out 4 batters. 7 strikeouts in total for the lefty. Line drive down the line and just foul. Third base umpire Tom West had the best view of it, and we take a look at the Suki Bowl replay. Maybe it's a good thing it didn't stay fair, because De La Calle spun out, leaving the box. Second time we've seen that tonight from a right-handed batter. One and 2 the count to Danny De La Calle. Kent winds and deals. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Strikeout number 8 for Stephen Kent, who looks better now than he did when he began. Suki Bowl replay shows how badly De La Calle was fooled by what looked like a changeup. It's not one of Kent's primary 3 pitches. He's got the fastball and curve and the slider. That's what we were told, at least. Mitch Ellis breaks his back, but he sends a soft line drive into center field for a base hit. Mitch Ellis continues to get on base. That's his first hit of tonight's ball game. He's now 1 for 3. Bandits will need a few more of those, and a couple blasts as well. Riley Unruh delivered a blast, a 2-run homer to right center field in the second that accounted for the most recent Bandits runs.
Well, the one thing we've seen ball clubs make comebacks, particularly here in this ballpark. So there's no lead that's really safe. So Ken will continue to have to make good quality pitches.
Breaking pitch misses up
as he works deeper into this ball game.
Unruh, the leadoff man, is 1 for 3 with that 2-run homer. He's also grounded out twice to the left side of the infield. 1-0 pitch, a fastball misses up and away. Kent approaching 110 pitches, threw 115 his last time out. 2-0 to Unruh, a letter high strike on the outside edge.
Yeah, tonight Ladders had a little bit more generous on the ball up in the zone and less generous on the ball down in the strike zone tonight. So hitters will have to make that adjustment, knowing that he is calling the high strike but not giving much away on the ball low.
The 2-1. There's a called strike again, 2-2. The 2-2. Unruh chased. Fastball up in the eyes, and maybe a painful swing for him as he shakes his left hand, retreating to the dugout.
He did look like he nursed his left wrist. You can see he tried to check his swing on the ball up in the zone, and once the bat started, it's just hard to stop. So hopefully he's okay. Just trying to stop the barrel from crossing the strike zone, wasn't able to prevent.
2 down for Winton Bernard, 1 for 3 with a single. Ellis still at first. The pitch to Bernard. Called strike. 9 runs on 11 hits for the Cavalry. 4 runs on 9 hits for the Bandits. The 0-1. Bounced in the dirt. Tomorrow's pitching matchup features Travis Blackley going for the Bandits and Kyle Kinman going for Canberra.
Another big pitching matchup again.
The 1-1. Fouled back. The Bandits and their fans, of course, would like to see them retain supremacy as long as they can atop the Australian Baseball League. But with the original 6 teams all competing for playoff spots this year, this is about as healthy as the league has been ever.
No, it is. I agree. I think the balance of the league has been outstanding. I think the ownership model is a big contributor to that, because now you see the investment now in the athletes, late acquisitions as we get closer to the playoff push. Even Sydney acquired a few reinforcement individuals, and obviously Canberra brought Krause back as well.
2-2. Bernard with a defensive swing flips it over the screen down the first base line. Kent trying to get through 7 innings. The 2-2. Fouled back again. What we've seen from Bernard so far, veteran presence in the box, competitive at bats, and I think most importantly for this team, solid defense in left field.
He's been outstanding. I think a big pickup, particularly in the playoff push. It gives you a bit of presence at the top of the order. Great combination, 1-2 punch between he and Unruh now.
Another 2-2. Serve down the right field line, and it lands in the Bandits' bullpen. Candelas runs out of room.
And then that puts Campbell, TJ, Lutz, and Sutherland in positions with an opportunity to drive in some top-end speed and guys that can handle the bat pretty well.
Bernard trying to win this long battle against Stephen Kent. Another 2-2 coming. And another foul. This one will find its way out of play as well. No action in the Bandits' pen. Probably be Justin Erasmus out to begin the 8th inning. Erasmus got the final 2 outs of the 7th inning after allowing a 2-run single to Madison Youngener, the first man he faced. Kent readies another 2-2 to Winton Bernard. The pitch, missing up high, 3-2. With 2 down, Ellis will have a chance to leave early. Andrew Campbell waits on deck. If you get 2 men on, with some home run threats at the plate, the Bandits could quickly get back in this ball game. The 3-2 to Bernard. Another foul. Ellis takes his lead at first. He is being held on. Another 3-2. Popped up, this time on the left side of the infield. Foul territory. Third baseman Warner calls and catches, and that ends the 7th inning and likely the night for Stephen Kent. 9 strikeouts, 7 solid innings, and a chance to pick up his 7th win of the year. We go to the 8th here in Brisbane. Cavalry on top, 9-4.
Careful, out there, champ.
How good is this?
The Cavalry lead the Bandits 9-4 as we go to the top of the 8th inning here at One Hub Stadium, powered by Optus. He's Paul, I'm Eric. Thanks for joining us tonight. Paul, we talked in the open about the struggles that Canberra has had here in Brisbane, but looking at them tonight, you wouldn't know it. Stephen Kent picked up his 300th career ABL strikeout. He leaves with a chance to win his 7th ball game of the season, and the offense has torn their way through the Bandits pitching staff pretty consistently.
They really have. In my opinion, they've actually played what you want to see from an organization as a manager. That's playoff-style baseball. They fell behind. They picked up their number 1 starter, who's 6-0 going to this ball game. They put up a big number here tonight, now 9-4, and they've played fantastic defense throughout the night.
Cam Warner leads off the 8th inning against Justin Erasmus. He got the final 2 outs of the 7th inning, and that closes the book on Sam Holland, who went a third of an inning. He did not allow a hit, but he walked 4 batters, one of which was intentional, and he allowed 3 runs. That won't help his ERA one bit. 1-2 the count now to Cam Warner.
The big thing is how the ball club rebounds. So you still got 2 more innings in this ball club. They need to chip away at that lead and make this a ball game if they can't tie it up or get ahead. And then they need to keep that momentum going into tomorrow, because it'll be another tough matchup between 2 tough lefties.
Skyfleet Hino strikeout, second for Erasmus, as Warner swings and misses at some high, hard stuff. Here's Craig Massey, who has reached base all 4 times tonight. He's 1 for 1 with 3 walks and 4 runs scored. That's quite the line. Cold strike begins the at-bat to the left-handed hitting second baseman. Bandits, of course, would love to come back and win this ball game. But even if they can just get into the Cavalry bullpen a little bit, maybe get their closer into the game, that would go a long way towards building some momentum for tomorrow's ball game.
It's so important. I mean, you don't want Canberra to continue to carry the momentum. Like I said, they came off a big series win against a sweep against Sydney, a very tough side.
Chop to second. Unruh backs up on it, and he throws on the first to retire Massey. First time the Cavalry second baseman has been retired today.
Good play by Unruh and just good baseball awareness. He backed up and 2 feet, 2 steps behind the cut and comes up and fires to first base for out number 2. But exactly what you mentioned earlier, it's imperative for the Bandits to see if they can chip away and get into the bullpen. If Kent can pitch this whole game through, and if that's into what's happening, then they don't have to utilize any of their arms. Almost could potentially play as an advantage going into 2, 3, and 4.
Zach Wilson has reached base all 4 times tonight. Once on an error, once on a walk, once on a single, and in the 3rd inning, he circled the bases on his league-leading 12th home run. Erasmus set. The 0-1 pitch hit on a line but foul down the third base line. Erasmus looks in. Bandits pitchers have had just one 1-2-3 inning tonight. That came back in the 4th. And there's a swinging strike 3 to retire Wilson and the Cavalry in the top of the 8th inning. Justin Erasmus has held serve, and now the offense needs to get to work. Bandits trail Canberra 9-4 going to the bottom of the 8th.
Great job, Chef.
Thanks.
Who wants a drink?
Let's go, Archer. Beers away.
Thank you, Archer.
Looks like these guys are working up a tropical thirst, Archer.
Thank you, Archer!
Beers to the beach.
Yeah!
Thank you, Archer!
They look thirsty down there in the outback, Archer.
We'll all be.
Thank you, Archer! Yeah!
Good boy, Archer.
Stephen Kent's day is done, and an Alderley higher pitching change. Keith Ward and the Cavalry go to Zach Lamond. Lamond 1-1 with a 2.40 ERA in 12 relief appearances for the Cavalry this season. How about Stephen Kent? He is in line to improve to 7-0 on the year. He allowed 4 runs, 3 earned on 9 hits. He did not walk a batter, and he struck out 9, including the 300th of his ABL career.
Yeah, we have to acknowledge Stephen Kent. He threw a brilliant ball game, and also acknowledge him on strikeout number 300. That's quite a milestone for him, and you know, he continues to just get better and better. He's 29 years of age, and his line tonight was outstanding.
First pitch misses down and in, ball 1 to Andrew Campbell. Campbell is 2 for 3 tonight with a pair of singles. Lamont, 26 years old, born in Houston, went to school in Rice. 2-0. Can you find it in your heart to compliment a Rice Owl?
I almost signed a letter of intent with Rice.
3-0 the count.
No, they were on my short list. I had TCU, Rice, and I had a visit to Duke, and I decided not to go and visit, but Rice was pursuing fairly heavy.
Pitch misses outside. A 4-pitch walk to Andrew Campbell begins the 8th inning.
And the thing is, like TCU, they've completely turned their programs around. They picked up a Coach Graham, who's a long-time junior college coach out of San Jacinto Junior College, and completely turned the baseball program around. And it was known for its academic side, and there were some great players coming out of Rice University when Graham transferred over. What was the long time? Bergman for the Houston Astros?
Lance Berkman.
Berkman. Several other players came out of that organization.
Here's TJ Bennett, 1 for 3 tonight. With a single and a run scored, he takes a called strike.
But we talked about this is exactly what the Bandits need to do. They've got leadoff walk, and now they've got the big boppers at the plate, so they need to see if they can create some damage and at least put a dent in that score. 9-4, it's a big number.
0-2 as Bennett fouls it straight back.
But it's so important from a mental component. Like I said, when a ball club's playing well, you've got to find a way to find a chink in the armor and don't let them get the mental advantage going into a tough series.
The Outlaws haven't given up. Close pitch taken on 0-2, but it's a ball, and the count is 1-2.
And that's one thing. Latta's been very consistent tonight on the ball down and in and out of the strike zone. He hasn't conceded much there. So
1-2, fouled at the plate, and Perkins can't hang on. Because of the blowout nature of so many of the games against Auckland, we got accustomed to seeing a lot of substitutions around this point in the ball game, but neither team has made a substitution save for the starters being relieved. Makes for a clean scorecard. Here's the 1-2 to Bennett. Fouled into his dugout.
I'll try to see if I can speak with Cam, because I'm wondering if they had an opportunity to compete against each other from Rice and TCU. Big rivalry in that conference. It was the Southwest Conference when I was playing, and now I know that the
Rice is Conference USA.
USA.
Yeah. One, two, called strike 3, and Bennett can't believe it. He says it's not a strike. Paul Latta begs to differ. Bennett strikes out for out number 1 in the 8th inning. TJ plays with fire, and you can't fault him for that. Take another look. Looked outside from here, but it's a close pitch.
Yeah, it's a tough, particularly what his comment was it hadn't been a called strike all night, so the ball down and away had been consistently called.
You were just talking about it.
And then it went probably off the plate and down, and he rung him up. So technically can't argue balls and strikes, but
he kept moving, and I think that's the most important thing in those. Here's Logan Wade, pair of singles and a run batted in. Batting for the first time from the left side.
I learned a hard lesson. I was in Arizona Fall League in my 3rd year of pro ball, and it was the first year of the inaugural year of the Arizona Fall League, so it was absolutely stacked. And I was tracking a ball into home plate, and it was a borderline outside, and just tracking it. And the umpire was
base hit right field. Campbell waited on it to make sure he didn't run into it. He checks in at second, and the Bandits have a pair of base runners here in the 8th with Ryan Battaglia due up next. Looks like he'll be pinch hit free.
So here we did see potentially with the change in fan favorite, Goofy Sutherland comes up in a situation with the man on first and second and one out.
Should be a 1-to-1 switch. Battaglia had started at first base and went 0 for 3 at the plate with 3 strikeouts. Sutherland's come on in recent weeks after a slow start to the season. Sutherland, 33 years old, out of Brisbane, batting .210 on the year with 6 homers and 13 runs batted in. He takes low ball 1. Lamont played last year in affiliated ball in the Marlins system. Made 20 relief appearances in the Florida State League for the Jupiter Hammerheads. He's 3-0 with a 0.64 ERA. That's a good year. And he delivers a called strike on the inside corner to Sutherland. Lamont, 26 years old. Mentioned he's a Texas native. The 1-1. Down and in. '18 was his first season with the Marlins. Spent some time in the Padres system before that. 2-2 now the count to Sutherland. "13 appearances with the Double-A Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp this year. Went 1-0 with a 4.50
Did
ERA.
you say the Jumbo Shrimp?
I did.
That would make them prawns.
Yes, over here they would be. 2-2. Too tall for the pitcher. It may turn into a double play.
No.
The flip to short, and they say that Francoso was off the base. Glove flip from Massey to Francoso, and here comes Keith Ward to argue with the umpire Tom West.
Trying to see if we get a chance to see the replay. The ball took him off the bag, but I don't think he had to actually control of the ball in itself. So we get a chance. So there'll be an argument. Tom West was in good position to make the call. So we go right here. We get a chance to see. So slow hit ball, and on the glove flip, he lost in the transfer. Logan's ever to hurdle him. So there was no contact with touch of the glove. So
I thought his foot may have still been on the base.
No, he wasn't on the bag. So
here's a better angle
right here. So he had to come off the bag, and the only contact was feet on feet.
Boy, I thought he kept his foot on the base with the ball in the glove, but maybe he didn't have control of the ball at that point.
Now all of a sudden we've got a completely different scenario here with Donald Lutz who just come in off the bench.
Lutz, another pinch hitter for Mitch Nielsen, who had gone 0 for 3.
And if you talk about right man, right time, if he can square something up, we could potentially have a one-run ball game.
Lutz with a prolific home run output last year. Big swing and a miss, and the count is 1-1.
Good swing right there, and like to see, it looks like he's staying within himself. He is so physically strong. Doesn't have to do much more than barrel the baseball up, and he can drive the ball out to any part of the ballpark.
Lutz played in the inaugural ABL season with the Cavalry. Taking down and away 2-1. Fourth season with the Bandits, on the year batting .179 with 3 homers and 12 runs batted in. Last year hit 16 homers in 36 games. He won't get to that number this year, but he could hit a big one here. The 2-1. Taken just outside, 3-1. No place to put Lutz. Danny De La Calle waiting on deck. If Lutz can reach, De La Calle would be the tying runner. The 3-1. Big swing and a miss. Foul tip into the mid, and the count runs full. One of Lutz's 3 homers came in Canberra. Also robbed of a home run at the end of that series. Last went deep on the 23rd of December in Melbourne. Payoff pitch, fouled straight back. Campbell at third, Wade at second, Sutherland at first. Sutherland reaches on a fielder's choice. And it'll be an error on Massey, the second baseman, with the glove flip that landed short. Another 3-2 coming to Lutz. High fly ball, left field shallow. Coming on is Aoyagi. He makes the catch, and just a bluff from third from Campbell. Lutz just turned a little bit early, and he lifts a harmless fly to left for the second out.
You got a pitch off the outer half of the plate, and just didn't be able to square him up, and good job by the left fielder to come in and get behind that ball, make a good throw. So it looks like there either be a pitching change or just a discussion on the mound now.
This is Brian Grenning, the pitching coach. Danny De La Calle is 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored back in the second. Without the developmental roster, and there's a look at the Canberra bullpen. That's Tomoya Mikami, another righty, tossing for the Cavalry. But now the Bandits, in the span of 2 plate appearances, have burned up 2 of their bench options. Sutherland now in the game at first. Lutz is the DH of record. Dan Nielsen, the only other player available on the bench, save for Myers, the developmental catcher. De La Calle trying to get the Bandits on the board here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Big step and a take. Ball misses outside. The 1-0 pitch. Popped foul. One pitch coming with the bases loaded to Danny De La Calle. Fooled on the breaking pitch. De La Calle holds up, and it's a ball, 2-1.
Tell you what, it's been this way the Bandits want to finish. I mean, obviously they weren't able to contain this offense, but we talked about trying to gain some momentum in this ball game.
The 2-1. Line drive to right. Coming on, Candelas. He can't see it in the lights. It goes all the way to the wall. Campbell scores from third. Wade scores from second. The Bandits score 2. Danny De La Calle ends up at second base as Candelas lost the third out in the lights. It's now 9-6.
Well, we talked about earlier in the piece about how he'd been swinging a good bat, particularly when he stays through the baseball. That's an example of him staying through the ball. Unfortunately for Candelas, that ball got caught up in the lights, and anytime it does, all you can hope for it comes out and able to recover. But good hustle by the Bandits, and now they make it 9-6 here in the 8th inning, and there's still a threat at the plate with Mitch Ellis.
Mitch Ellis represents the tying run. 1 for 3 with a single his last time up. First pitch, line drive to left. Coming on is Aoyagi, and he makes the catch for the third out. Bandits strand a pair in scoring position, but they get 2 back. Right now it would be a save situation, as it's now 9-6 as we go to the 9th.
their chant.
How good is this?
The Outlaws have been making noise, and the Bandits' bats made some noise in the 8th inning for the first time since the beginning moments of this game. They left 2 in scoring position, but on a bad break for the Cavalry, 2 runs come in, and it's now 9-6. Nobody's coming in from the Bandits' bullpen. Justin Erasmus still out there. He's gone an inning and 2/3 so far for Brisbane, striking out 3, allowing just a single. That was to the first man he faced. 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Cavalry, Candelas, Krause, and Perkins, with Erasmus trying to bring this to the bottom of the 9th in a 9-6 ball game. David Sutherland, as expected, takes over at first base for Ryan Battaglia. He pinch hit for the Bandits' first baseman in the 8th.
One of the big positives right there from that inning was we talked about would the Bandits continue to fight, and it shows their playoff spirit. They continue to fight through this ball game. Canberra's playing an outstanding ball game tonight, putting up a big number with a 9 spot. Still 1 inning left, but can the Bandits chip away at a very tough side?
1-1 the count to David Candelas. Candelas 2 for 4. He was the one who lost the liner in the lights, and while it doesn't look good on the highlight reel, you can attest there's really nothing you can do. If you can't see the ball, you can't see the ball.
No, you can't, and it's almost like a ball in the sun. All you can do is shield your eyes with your glove, and you just wait for, and technically once you look in the light, all you're going to do is see a black dot, so you just try to catch the black dot, because try looking in a light bulb and then catching an object is pretty difficult to do.
2-2 the count to David Candelas. Three into the count. Payoff pitch coming. Candelas fouls it out of the mitt of the catcher De La Calle to keep the at-bat going. Hits are now even at 11 apiece. And De La Calle did ultimately get credit for a 2-run double. That's the typical call on an official score if a ball is lost in the lights. Tough for the pitcher's earned run average, but again, it's not an error if you never saw the ball in the first place. Fouled off again. Another 3-2. Close pitch taken, and it's ball 4. Erasmus frustrated, and it's been those pitches down that have been a little bit inconsistent, at least in the last couple innings.
Yeah, they're borderline pitches, and like I said, he's been pretty consistent all night. The only one, obviously, that would have been in biggest question was the one TJ had a little bit of a shout out on, but the main thing, it's been a consistent strike zone, but pitchers have definitely had to battle tonight.
Here's Michael Krause, 1 for 3 with an RBI single, and he's got another base hit here. Line drive to left. Candelas checks in at second. No one else throwing in the Bandits bullpen. Erasmus is going to take one for the team tonight and try and get through the 9th inning, hoping his offense can tie it or walk it off in the bottom half.
You know, he'll have to bear down right here, and then really what he needs is a 2-ball and get himself out of threat of this inning. So continue to focus down in the strike zone and see if he can induce the ground ball.
Kyle Perkins is 1 for 3 and make it 2 for 4. Line drive to center field. Campbell up with the throw. It is not in time. Candelas scores from second, and the Cavalry answer back. They now lead at 10-6. The throw went all the way through, and as a result, Kraus takes third and Perkins takes second on the RBI single.
So once again, another quality at bat by Perkins, and able to shoot the ball at the middle and drive in. Now the 10th run of the game, and once again we show how potent this Canberra offense can be, and now putting up a 10 spot.
Madison Youngener getting the surprise start at DH tonight, and has picked up his first 2 ABL hits in his last 2 at-bats. He's 2 for 4 in total. Drove in a pair with a single his last time up. 1-0 the count. Infield all the way in. They can't afford to let any more runs cross the plate. 1-0 lifted foul down the first base line, out of play. The 1-1. Fouled straight back.
Decent crowd tonight for a Thursday night. I think everyone's back at work after the Christmas holidays. School holidays are still on.
1-2, chopped foul up the third base line. Expecting some really good crowds the next 2 nights. Final 2 nights of the regular season here at home. Bandits hope to play several playoff games here at One Hub Stadium, powered by Optus, but despite the last 3 seasons worth of championships, you can't guarantee those sort of things. 1-2. Fouled off a foot, high in the air. Spins foul anyway, but I do believe it was off the left foot of Youngener. Ryan Bollinger started this game for the Bandits. He went 5 innings, his longest outing of the year. He allowed 5 runs, 4 of them earned on 8 hits. Stephen Kent will remain unbeaten, and he may pick up his 7th win of the season tonight. Cavalry starter went 7 innings. Swing and a miss. There's a big first out for Justin Erasmus, another Skyfleet Hino strikeout, his 4th.
Yeah, big strikeout right there. Infield was drawn in, obviously with men on second and third. So get a chance to see the pitch, good location. Pitch up in the zone, but Lossie's up today for Erasmus, able to blow it by him for out number 1.
If this were the 9th place hitter, you may entertain the idea of intentionally walking Kuki Aoyagi. Instead, the Bandits will opt to pitch to him with the infield still drawn in. Now, even though you're pitching to him, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to give him something to hit. You can pitch him very carefully here, knowing that you have the safety valve of first base open and Michael Francoso, the leadoff man, on deck. 1-0 popped up, shallow right field. Ellis, an infielder turned outfielder, readies the catch and the throw. Double clutch and the throw home. He's safe. Good throw and a good tag from De La Calle. But Ellis gathered just a little bit, and the Cavalry now lead it 11-6.
We get a chance to see Ellis, and you're right, he got behind the baseball, and just enough, and I did say Krause is a plus runner. You can see right here, the ball just behind him, and the tag on the top of the back or just on the shoulder, so he looked like he got under. De La Calle didn't argue it. Normally in that situation, if he thought he got him, you definitely would have seen an argument.
Looked like Kraus got the left hand in. Perkins advances to third, and the Cavalry get those 2 runs back that they surrendered in the 8th inning. They lead by 5 once more. Here's Michael Francoso. He takes a called strike.
And that's what we talked about early in the piece with the addition of Michael Kraus coming back to this ball club. Not only has he had an impact with the bat since his return, but his speed is always a threat.
Hit on the ground to second. Unruh rounds it, and with a head full of steam, he throws on to first for the 3rd out of the 9th inning. The Cavalry get their breathing room back as we take a look at the Suki Bowl replay. 2 runs in the top of the 9th. It'll be a 5-run lead to protect for Canberra going to the last half of the ball game.
It's always been you.
It's always been us.
Despite the efforts of the Outlaws down the third base line, the Canberra Cavalry are on their way to a series opening victory here on the road in Brisbane. Alderley Hire pitching change for Canberra as Tomoya Mikami comes on. Mikami 4 of 5 in save opportunities, comes on in a non-save opportunity here. Anytime though you can get a win on the road against the 3-time defending champions, you pull out all the stops, and that is what Keith Ward is doing.
Oh, well, I like the move. We're in playoff baseball, and that's what you do. You're going to line your cards up, and you don't make any assumptions in any ball game. So they're going to bring their big gun out of the bullpen, but a good opportunity for the Bandits to see him, particularly as you get into game 2, 3, and 4. He may come out again, so it's always a positive for a hitter to have a chance to have a look at your closer.
Zach Lamond pitched the 8th inning. Both of the runs he allowed were unearned. He allowed 2 hits, 1 walk, and he struck out a batter. Mikami 1-1 on the year with a 1.69 ERA. This will be his 12th appearance, all of them in relief. Pitched 2 perfect innings against the Bandits back in round 4 in Canberra. Riley Unruh leads it off and takes up high, ball 1. There's a called strike. Unruh tonight is 1 for 4 with a 2-run homer back in the 2nd inning. That came as a right-handed batter. First time tonight batting as a lefty. That's where he takes most of his at-bats. The 1-1. Hit high in the air, deep towards left center field. Into the gap and on the warning track, a leaping catch made by Aoyagi for the 1st out. That's a catch that a visiting player sometimes has trouble with. Learning a foreign field for the first time, he thought the wall was a lot closer than it was, but ultimately he still makes the play.
No, he made the play. He went a long way. The ball came off the bat really well by Unruh, but he did a good job to run the baseball down and didn't realize he still had a bit of real estate left. But once again, I saw how quickly Krause got it there, and I think he even put himself in position to make that play if he needed to.
Here's Winton Bernard, 1 for 4 tonight. He takes a called strike on the inside edge. A bit atypical for a relief pitcher, much less a closer, to pitch from the wind, but that's what we are seeing from Tomoya Mikami. Broken bat for Bernard. He will retreat for a new piece of lumber with a count 0-2.
When I look at the makeup of this ball club, they're about as tough as you're going to see in the Australian Baseball League. We've been fortunate enough to see all the teams, and obviously I didn't get a chance to go to on the Canberra series, and once again they look like they're a different makeup ball club from that first road trip.
They lost a couple players too that were making big contributions. Bernard down on 3 strikes on 3 pitches. and the Bandits are down to their final out. Another reminder that it's the same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow. 6 o'clock local time here on Bandits.tv as Travis Blackley faces off against Kyle Kinman. Andrew Campbell takes a called strike. Campbell 2 for 3 with a pair of singles, a walk, and 2 runs scored tonight. 0-1 popped up behind home plate. Perkins over for a look, but it is out of play. And a nice one-hop catch made by a fan. Final strike time for the Bandits. The 0-2. Right back up the middle, glancing off the glove of McCamey, and it bleeds into center field. The Bandits are still alive. Third hit of the ball game for Campbell, 4th time that he's reached, and that'll bring TJ Bennett to the plate. Bennett went down looking an inning ago, he thought, on a pitch that was outside. That inning looks a little bit different if Bennett's at bat continues, though we don't know. Maybe the Bandits caught a break on the force play at second that turned into an error on the glove flip. First pitch to Bennett, a swing and a miss. Stephen Kent in line for the win. Ryan Bollinger on the hook for the loss. Not a save opportunity here for Tomoya Mikami. The 0-1 bounced in the dirt, and that got Paul Latta on the way back. Hope he's okay. Hate to see that happen. We're all friends here, and Latta almost got through the game without getting one of these. Ouch. Sometimes the best medicine is just to not move. Just wear it. I don't know if he could have moved if he wanted to after that one.
He was all set up, and you see Perkins shifted outside and just the ball in the dirt.
1-1, hard grounder to second. This should do it. Massey has time, and he throws on to first. The Canberra Cavalry come into Brisbane and defeat the Bandits 11-6 in the round 9 opener. They move into sole possession of second place in the Northeast Division. The Bandits had hoped to take the opener here at home, but instead it is the visiting Cavalry who get great pitching and plenty of offense to take the opener. 11 runs on 13 hits for the Cavalry, 6 runs on 12 hits for the Bandits. The win will go to Stephen Kent. He picked up his 300th career ABL strikeout and improves to a perfect 7-0 on the year with 7 solid innings of work. Ryan Bollinger falls to 1-3. He got through 5, allowing 5 runs, 4 of them earned, and there was no save. Paul Gonzalez, the Cavalry have to be flying high after their 4-game sweep of Sydney. They win the opener here, and that's exactly what they had to do.
Well, they did, and you've got to acknowledge that ball club. Kent got in a little trouble early on, but then really settled in and shows why he's been basically their number 1 arm all year, and now moves his record to 7-0. Acknowledge once again his 300th strikeout in the Australian Baseball League. It's a big accomplishment for him. We've got to acknowledge how offensive, strong they are offensively, putting a big number tonight with 11 runs in the 9 innings to defeat the Brisbane Bandits 11-6.
For the Hailstorm TV production crew and my broadcast partner Paul Gonzalez, this is Eric Bramer signing off. One more time, your final score from One Hub Stadium powered by Optus. The Canberra Cavalry 11, the Coran Cove Brisbane Bandits 6. Thanks for watching, and catch us tomorrow night.
At the Sporting Globe, we're a little different to other pubs and bars. We have more than just cooks, we have chefs. We have more than bar service, we have table service. We have more than live sporting events, we have atmosphere.
And we have more than customers, we have fans.
It's more than a sports bar, it's a Sporting Globe.
No one knows what the future of transportation will look like. Robots. But no matter what, Enterprise can help. You can rent a car for a road trip. Look, kids, nature. Oh, wow. You can rent a truck for a move. You can buy a car, commute in a van pool, or get picked up because your car is in a pool. My bad. Count on Enterprise, no matter where transportation goes next.
Let's go.
I love the future. How can Enterprise pick you up today?
Hey, Thomas.
Yeah?
Is it fun playing at festivals?
It's pretty good, mate. You get to see amazing places, meet new people. Everyone's just pumped to be there. And you get to do the sign-off.
Queensland, where life's beautiful one day and perfect the next.